stuff so we can make the permanent move down here.
I
got
got you.
Stick.
See, and I thought he was helping Joe Burrow haul his money to the bank. Lord knows Joe's going to need some help. Joe Burrow signed his contract this morning, so, all of the news coming out of NFL training camps is not all especially bleak. I think it's a pretty good day in the Burrow household.
Yeah. So
accountant Hester over here has done the math, so lay it on me.
Some quick math. He agreed in principle to a $36 million contract with the Bengals, of course, pending a physical. He receives 100% of $23.88 million signing bonus from the Bengals within 15 days of the contract being signed. So, if you've listened to this show before, the first thing that comes to my mind is taxes.
Hester's a big after-tax guy.
I am. But luckily, in the state of Ohio, in the highest tax bracket, it is only 4.8%. So he's only going to have to shell Ohio a little over $1 million, a little bit over $1.1 million. So if you look at places like California, 13%, Louisiana is 9%. So 4.8% is actually pretty low, especially in the highest tax bracket there. But
yet another reason not to want to be drafted by the Jets.
See, very true.
Okay.
Jamal Adams, no state tax. That could have been in my argument on Friday. But he's got to give the federal government a little over $9.6 million.
Okay.
But Hanny, of the $23 million, he's still going to pocket over $12 million, 12.1 and some change.
He's not going to starve.
And that's just 15 days after he signs his name, and that's just signing bonus. Of course, it doesn't include salary and endorsements. And
be honest, last year at this time, a week out from camp, something like, somewhere in that area, if I had asked you, former professional football player, knowing the finances the way you do and the taxes the way you do and the procedure the way you do and all of the things that go into this, what do you think you realistically, just try to remember back, what would you have said a year ago today that Joe Burrow will net on his first day of NFL training camp?
And so if I can remember, Flynn and I were doing a show, and we were talking about that right before camp started. We were talking about all the potential and, where guys could maybe get drafted from that 2019 LSU team. And I want to say that we said the ceiling was second-round pick, but we felt really good about a second, third, fourth-round pick, that range. And I've got to give Flynn credit. He goes, no, I can see him being a second-round pick. He's going to grow. He's going to do this, going to do that. Obviously, we didn't think we'd be talking about a signing bonus of $23.88 million.
No, of course not. How could you possibly? Now, that was you guys are eternal optimists, okay? A lot of other people thought he was a third-day pick, that he would have been somewhere between the fourth and seventh round. I know that's a pretty wide margin, but
that's how it goes in the draft, though, when you're in that range.
If you would have asked a year ago, I think more people would have said that there would be a better chance he would be selected on day 3 than he would be selected on day 1 for sure, and most people that he would have been selected on day 2 in either the second or the third round. So let's split the difference, okay? Let's say instead of the second round, instead of the sixth, let's say he would have gone midway in the fourth round. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Middle of the fourth round, I'm going to take Jacob Eason. He went 15 picks into the second round, so that's just about. Into the fourth round, so that's just about right. And quarterback, okay. His signing bonus or his total contract, a little over $4 million. His signing bonus, a little over $700,000 in the state of Washington. So.
You only have to pay federal.
I'm sorry. He went to college in Washington, in Indiana. He's playing for the Colts. So I'm not going to make you do all of the taxes and stuff again, but somewhere in the area of $400,000.
Yeah, and he's probably splitting it up between 2 payments as well. That's how the later picks go.
Because he's worried about the tax ramifications, where Joe Burrow is not. So he went from
with 4.8%. Not even trying to be funny, that you can. I mean,
sure,
that's very low.
I got it.
Tax bracket.
Okay, so Jacob Eason probably, when he straps his helmet on for the first time at Colts camp later this week, will have after taxes somewhere. Let's say he split it up equal parts, somewhere a little over $200,000 in his pocket, 225, something like that. Burrow's got $12 million, and change. What a difference a year can make.
And how much should we talk about Jacob Eason compared to Joe Burrow coming in? Even when Joe transferred from Ohio State.
I'm gonna be as honest as I can be, and I know how it all turned out, and I know how very, very wrong I would have been. But if you had asked me a year ago at this time, prior to camp, who's going higher in the draft, Joe Burrow or Jacob Eason, and I would have told you Jacob Eason 11 times out of 10. Given the physical attributes that he had, given the fact that he was projected to go higher than he did, I would have told you Eason every time. I'm not even gonna lie about it. Now, again, I understand how incredibly wrong I ended up being, but I would have said that a year ago at this time.
Inside the Bayou Ford huddle, that doesn't include agent fees. No, it does not. But we're not including all the fees. We're just telling you what he's going to get from his check. I mean, there's different fees. He's going to pay his agent 3%.
He's gonna have to pay rent somewhere too. I mean, he's got to live somewhere. This is what he's going to pay the government.
Numbers. And your marketing agent, you don't pay him a salary. You pay him depending on the deals that you get. I remember having a conversation with Joe. I think it was the day of the national championship parade, and we were talking about how much money you're going to be making in endorsement deals and autograph signings. And look, after a championship team, you're going to make some pretty good money. I know Flynn and I were very, very fortunate to be able to clear like six figures after we won, and it's a glorious time. Nobody pays six figures anymore, Hanny, but Joe was just sitting there, and I don't think he realized how much money he was going to have available to him to make after winning the Heisman Trophy, having the season that he had, being the number one pick. He made millions. I mean, there's no question off autograph signings, endorsements. I mean, he made millions from the get-go. And so that doesn't even take into account that money. So, yes, signing bonus, salary, all those things, but the endorsements when you're the number one overall pick, the Heisman Trophy winner, even if you're just a national champion and you're the quarterback on that team, you're going to do okay.
You know, it really benefited all of us because when they made the playoffs and made the championship game, that was 2 more post-game shows that I did. I got 2 more post-game talent fees.
You did.
I mean, so we all made, just a little bit more money.
Hey, we're sitting here joking, but it's not the same money, but all the shows I did for SiriusXM in New York City for the Heisman ceremony, all the extra work that we did here on this station, all the Sirius shows there for the national championship. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
It wasn't $12 million, but I appreciate
just that little bit of extra. So Joe Burrow's going to camp. But if you remember the New England Patriots, maybe you aren't. Patriots now have 6 players that have opted out of the season. The most prominent being Dante Hightower, and he was joined a little bit later this morning by Patrick Chung. Hightower's been there for 9 years. He's essentially the defensive quarterback. He calls the signals. He's won 3 Super Bowls running that defense, and he's a team captain. We know Hightower from his time at Alabama. He's a fantastic player, and he's scheduled to earn $8 million this year. Not as much as Joe Burrow, but very nice for a veteran linebacker. And he said, "No thanks. I've got a newborn, and the risks outweigh it for me." Patrick Chung joined him. There were 4 other players. I'm sorry, he makes 7 now. I'm sorry, 6. Brandon Bolden, who is from right around here, has also opted out of the season. This was earlier in the week, and 3 other players, including starting offensive tackle Marcus Cannon. There's a Belichick joke to be made here, like, what's he up to with all of these guys? There's got to be some, ulterior motive, but it's too serious a topic to even, make a joke at Belichick's expense. What we're seeing here, because I don't know that these guys are armed with any more information than they had 2 weeks ago or a week ago, where the NFL is concerned. But they just watched this Marlins thing. I mean, is it me, or you get, a handful of guys that the day after this happens says, count me out.
I'm surprised by the number it's been and the names that it's been. It's been a lot of starting players, a lot of guys that mean a lot, are very valuable to their franchise. And so I've been surprised by the numbers that have been coming out. We've even seen some undrafted free agent rookies opt out. Now, it was a long shot for them to make the team, but they're not even giving their chance the opportunity, right? They're pulling out. And so it has surprised me, this early. Now, we've seen some NFL players, including Patrick Mahomes, who we'll talk about later. He said there was some uncertainty for him, but once he got to the facility, he saw everything and how it was put into place, that made him feel better. He was okay after that. So I'm surprised you haven't had more guys go to the facility, check out the protocols, the procedures, and then make a decision? And I also wonder, is the door open for them to return? Or we know how Bill Belichick is. We know his personality. Is he going to move on this year and get, 7 other guys ready to play? And so what's that window as far as coming back as well?
I think there are going to be some protections built in by the union.
And I'm not saying cut or anything like that, but yeah, there'll be protections for sure. But as far as you getting back on the team and them making roster moves, what is that going to look like? Is it going to be a uniform policy for every team? Is it going to be up to each individual team? That's something that, I don't think we expected to see this many numbers out already.
Brandon Bolden, again, a player we know well here, and from his time not only at the Preps but at Ole Miss as well. He's opting out. This is his 9th year in the league. He's carved out a very nice career for himself. He's not a star, but he was set to earn $1.3 million this year. This is his 9th NFL season. He is a running back. Now, he's primarily a special teams ace for them, but he is past the prime for a player his age. My point is, there may not be very many more opportunities for Brandon Bolden to make this kind of money, and he's saying no thanks.
Right.
He's made $4.6 million in his career. Certainly a nice amount of money, but not to what Hightower has made. Or
you're not retiring off that.
Well, I'll let you do the taxes and all that stuff, but he is basically turning down a little under a third of his career earnings for 1 year because he doesn't consider this safe. That got my attention when a star who has made more money than he'll ever be able to spend, like if Rivers said, you know what, I've made my money, I'm at an, I've got a large family, I've got more than enough money to count me out. This guy has been fighting for his NFL. I think it's fair to say Brandon Bolden has fought for his NFL life every minute he's been in the league. Okay, he's never been a shoe-in or anything like that to make a team, and he's busted his butt and he's done this, and he's now at a point where his veteran salary is $1.3 million, and he's saying, no thanks. You got to ask the question what the rest of this week is going to look like, and is it a product of what happened with the Marlins yesterday? Now, the good news is that none of the Phillies tested positive. That, if you want to look at it from a positive standpoint, the Phillies were okay. What's next? We saw the commissioner come out and say that we don't consider this the nightmare scenario. The baseball commissioner, Rob Manfred, we don't consider this a nightmare scenario. We consider this one of the reasons that we put in the 60-man roster in the first place. We feel like, yes, there is certainly a point where the competitive advantage is so great that we would have to shut everything down, but we don't feel like that is where we are right now. And so we will move forward. He stopped well short of saying what that number would be, by the way. Is this a product of what happened over the weekend with the Marlins?
It might have something to do with it, but I think it's alarming that so many from one team. Now, we're seeing it kind of scattered all over the place, but what happened in the Patriots facility? What's going on? What are the whispers around the team where you've got a large number? And we know the Patriots always keep everything a secret already, right? They're one of those franchises. They try not to let any information get out. And, again, there's like 7 jokes that we typically would make, but this is a serious situation. So you wonder what was eye-opening to them when they walked into that facility or when they got word of, hey, this is what's going on here. I don't think we're doing the best thing possible for the player safety. So that has to come out as well, I believe, because all these guys on this team, they're at different points in their career. You mentioned that Hightower is kind of a star right now. He is a Pro Bowl type player, where you've got other guys, like you mentioned, at the very end of their career who they fought for their roster spot probably the last 5 years. It's been tooth and nail to try to get that last roster spot. And so that's eye-opening as well, why one team has that many that have decided not to join their team. And, again, we've seen starters from other teams. You could go across the league and you can point to this team and that team that's got a starter that's opted out. But so far the Patriots are a large number of what's going on in the NFL. And, by the way, I was distracted because after you said, Phillip Rivers and how much money he made, I looked up exactly how much money he made.
Oh, can I guess?
Sure. Just off contracts.
Yeah. 175 million?
203.
Oh. It was in the ballpark anyway.
So after I saw that number, I'm like, dang, Phil's paying for the next dinner for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for instance, Hightower has made $25 million in his career. This is about a third of his career. Now, it's it's a lot more, okay? But the percentage is very similar to what Bolden is doing. He's saying, nah, I'm coming out. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. We'll take a break hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Live NBA play-by-play returns this week. Thursday night, catch the Lakers and Clippers at 8. The Mavericks host the Rockets Friday at 8. And Sunday at 2:30, the Boston Celtics host the Portland Trail Blazers. Your home for the NBA is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 19...
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Saints team physician Chip Bankston will be with us, and we'll talk recruiting with Steve Wiltfong from 24/7 Sports. Hopefully you'll join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Back here on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Chris Doering with us at the bottom of the hour. Next hour we'll do first class, second class, no class, along with Hunt. You reckon Hunt's got some Cubs submissions?
Yes.
Rizzo, maybe?
I bet like all three of his probably have to do with the Cubs if he does it with us.
Like Hendricks, going out and throwing a complete game shutout on opening night.
When everybody else was throwing like 4 innings.
Right. And Rizzo is homered 3 times in 4 days. Imagine we may have a little bit of that. Out of the Bayou Ford huddle, a couple people have pointed out that there is an opt-out clause for these players not playing. That's true. The opt-out clause is anywhere from $350,000 to $150,000, depending on what your risk factors are. So, yes, there is some kind of protection, but there is not it's not what they would have made. So there is some there is some, but not a lot. And we see now Eddie Goldman has just opted out. He is a starting defensive lineman for the Chicago Bears. So far, the Saints have had only one reserve player opt out. So this hasn't hit New Orleans yet, but you got to figure that this is going to be what this week is going to be about, right? You're going to see a number of these guys, and if they're talking about it in locker rooms, you got to ask. How widespread do you think it will get? They're reporting today. They're going to go through testing. They're going to be in a testing protocol for several days, and then they're going to start. What do you think? I mean, you were in the league not that long ago. If something like this had happened, what is? There's got to be guys on the phone calling each other all over the place, going, "Man, what's going on in New England?"
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's no question. You're probably calling your union rep. You always have a union rep, and you have 2 guys underneath him in case something happens. So you would be on the phone with one of those 3 guys trying to find out, okay, well, what happened in New England? What's the protocols? What's our protocols? How is our setup going to be different than theirs if it is? And so obviously this is something that none of us have really had to deal with. But when you start seeing players that you recognize their name opting out, look at Baltimore. DeAnthony Thomas, we remember him from his college days in Kansas City. Andre Smith, we remember him from Alabama, number 6 overall pick, and these are guys that just came across the wire for Baltimore that are opting out. And so there's definitely conversations going on between players right now. And remember, you've got teams in camp right now as well. So what's the feeling that they have? Those teams that are already in training camp, they've already started that process. What's going on there, because you haven't actually heard a lot of news coming from those camps, and so they actually feel like their protocols are safe and doing the right things.
By the way, the tight end for the Saints name is Cole Wick. He signed late last season, so it's not he has asthma. That was one of the it's one of those conditions that could really be complicated by the coronavirus. So he's going to opt out. What did you think about what Rob Manfred said yesterday, which is this is not the nightmare scenario? They're looking to the commissioner's office for leadership, and he said, "Okay, no, this is what we plan for you. Make you feel better, or make you feel worse." I'm not asking the national media. I know that they think that the world's about to explode, but I would ask you.
I feel better about it. I feel better about it. Look, you've got 17 total Marlins right now that have it. This is one team that did not do things the right way. No positive test for the Phillies was way more important than anything the Marlins did, in my opinion, because now they can move forward. They have a game tonight, and they are scheduled to play because they had 0 positive tests. Now it's just this one team that knew they had guys with symptoms, and they didn't tell anybody, and they decided as players, which that's not how the protocols are put into place, to go out there and play. So I feel good about it. Yesterday when I came in here, Hanny, you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think you thought that this was going to spiral down baseball, and you told me that maybe I was pumping too much sunshine.
Well, I was concerned. I still am concerned about this, and where it leads. I was pleasantly surprised that none of the Phillies tested positive. You would have thought one or two for sure. Now here's here's another. This quote came out of this was from Ken Rosenthal, who is a Fox reporter, said that the Nationals have voted not to go to Miami this weekend. Now the decision rests with Major League Baseball about whether it's scheduled or not. So I mean, again, ex-player, you're on a team that is scheduled to go down there and play this team that has sort of flaunted the rules. How are you voting? I know how you're voting, but how do you think they? Well, we saw how the Nationals.
Wait,
voted.
How do you know how I'm voting?
Because you're going play. Yeah, I know you.
True.
You're going play.
Yeah.
If you were going to go to camp with the Chargers, you're going to go down and play in a game with quite a bit more social distancing than football has. So I sort of know how you think, which is great. I'm just curious what you think the other guys will think. If this one team is saying, you know what, count us out.
I don't think you're going to have a vast majority that would vote to go down there. I'd be surprised if you had any players.
So that's about 2/3 that voted against.
Yeah, I'm shocked that you had any players, raising their hands. I shouldn't say any players because obviously they might have the same mentality that I would have, but make the Marlins. Hey, Marlins, no, we're not coming to you. Like, no, you're going to send your taxi squad to us or something. That's the kind of punishment that I would throw to the Marlins. Like, we're not going down to Miami. Y'all have been there. Those 17 players, they've been in that building. We are not. You're sending 17 new people from your taxi squad. And I know some personnel, but whatever the number is, you're sending those players to my stadium where I know it's safe because none of us have tested positive, and we're going to play the series here. Sorry, you forfeited that.
Yeah, that would have been one of the penalties. Manfred said nothing about penalizing the Marlins. Okay, if you get this thing and it's through the course of natural action, hey, look, we took the protocols, happened anyway. Okay, well, that's one thing. But you had 4 guys. You knew they had tested positive. You played anyway. Yeah. Okay, well, now I got
now it's an issue.
Now I gotta give you some kind of disincentive to not do that again. Otherwise, and what if this happens with 3 games to go in the season and somebody's fighting for a playoff spot and they say, you know what, man, this guy was positive and he's got the locker right next to our ace pitcher. Well, we need that guy to pitch today. There's got to be some kind of disincentive to that, wouldn't you think?
I agree with you there.
And the only reason we're watching this so close is because football's about to start, or at least they're going to try to start.
And because we think college football is tied to what happens in Major League Baseball.
They're certainly watching it as a test case because they can't, Major League Baseball maybe could have put players in the bubble. They just decided not to. They could have gone to Florida. They could have gone to Arizona.
Remember, originally, though, it was because of the length of the season. Then they argued for so long.
Right. So this becomes a better test case than either the NBA or the NHL because those sports are in a bubble. We know there's going to be positive tests. What do you do in reaction to the positive tests? This is what they have chosen to do so far. We'll take a break. Chris Doering when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. Right now the folks over at SCAG offering 60 months interest-free financing. And when you add in free delivery and the 5-year Power Plus warranty, this makes it the best deal going. 5 years of worry-free mowing with the best unit on the market. Whether you got the big zero turns or the residential liberties, SCAG is the best name on the market for good reason. And of course at GoTro's you can get all of your property maintenance needs taken care of. Your blowers, your trimmers, your edgers, your generators as we get deeper into hurricane season. GoTro's Outdoor Power with 2 locations.
Airline and Industrial Plex in Baton Rouge, Airline 74 in Gonzales. GoTrosOutdoorPower.com is the website. You can check out new equipment, parts. You can also check out those warranties that Hanny was talking about right there on the website. Again, GoTrosOutdoorPower.com. That's GoTros. We make it easy.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Join us Tuesday night for Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. Matt Yeoman of VSiN Sports will join the show as we're live from Doe's Eat Place from 6 to 8 p.m. Catch it on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Today's show also brought to you part by Supreme Rice. Supreme Rice, a perfect complement for any meal. You know, you want a happy family? Get Supreme Rice. Dinner guests always happy. Sometimes it's tough to please. Well, you get a bag of locally grown Supreme Rice today. Make every meal delicious. The long grain, the brown, the jasmine rice. And you know what? It's processed right here, milled, grown in South Louisiana. Support Louisiana farmers. So whether it's for a etouffee or some red beans or white beans or gumbo when it gets a little bit colder, Supreme Rice, the perfect complement for any meal. And it's easy to get. You can get it at all your Costco's, all your Walmarts, all of your Rouses, and all of your AG food stores. Stretch that food dollar with Supreme Rice. And for more information, for great recipes, you can go to supremerice.com.
All right, glad to welcome back on the show who joins us every single Tuesday now, Chris Doering, the SEC Network and Sirius XM Radio. CD, what's up?
My guys, I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you on as always. And, hey, something that we talked about on Monday morning show, on our show, was Oklahoma and Missouri State being moved up a week. And now Oklahoma will have actually multiple bye weeks between their first three games. And it's important to us because it affects an SEC team, Tennessee, right? They have Tennessee in week 2. We've also seen Kansas move their game up against Southern Illinois. So I asked that to ask this. Do you think any SEC team, Chris, will move their games up?
Any SEC versus SEC games? Are you talking about?
Any SEC team to move their game up to try to create some flexibility in their scheduling?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned on the show the other day, Hess, I think it's a complete joke that we're all trying to pretend right now that the Oklahoma Sooners are actually going to play Missouri State, an FCS opponent, that Kansas is going to play an FCS opponent. Like, as much as we are trying to minimize risk right now, and I know that there's a lot that goes into scheduling, but to me, it's the most risky possible scenario for you to do as much as we've been doing in the SEC and the Power Fives in general in terms of testing protocols and regimens around the facilities, like, and then all of a sudden to go play one of these other teams that doesn't have the same funding to do the same type of testing and to have the same sort of protocol around the facilities. Like, it to me, it's a joke. I mean, I imagine we're going to hear something this week about the elimination of those games. But I could see, there being some movement in the scheduled dates. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of people that move up. I mean, let's think about it. We're days away from being in August, and all of a sudden we're thinking about playing in less than a month. I don't think that's very realistic. I think it's more realistic that we see games pushed back with a later start date than we actually do, seeing people being aggressively moving up into August by choice.
And I wonder how much it's going to have to do with the SEC's decision, right? If they don't come out and say we're only playing conference games, maybe they leave it up to the individual school. Because as you and I talked about on Monday morning, the Southland Conference, for instance, well, they have 2 Week 1 games against SEC opponents. You got Central Arkansas at Mizzou. You also have Abilene Christian at Texas A&M. Well, the Southland Conference has been, pretty stern as far as saying, hey, no, we plan on playing fall sports. We plan on playing on time, all those different things. I know we talked about McNeese State saying all of our other fall sports, well, they get pushed back, but not football. So if the SEC leaves it up to the individual schools and the teams from the Southland Conference decide, hey, we do want to play, can you imagine those games being played?
I have a hard time believing. I don't think it's about their desire to play as much as it is the desire to minimize risk. Like, I think we all would gladly give up some of those games against Southland opponents if we get a chance to watch LSU and Alabama play one another, Florida and LSU play. Like, those are the games that we need to be able to see. And much like we're seeing in Major League Baseball, 4 days in and seeing the Marlins have 13, 14 guys test positive, like, that could derail the rest of the season, not only for the Marlins, but, if that spread to the Phillies and potentially, the Yankees now, like that could do damage to the hopes of having a 60-game season. So I think you have to be even more cautious early in the season just to kind of protect your opportunity to have the season play out. I just don't think there's a lot to be gained from playing other teams from outside of the Power Five that doesn't have the same ability to test and to keep their players as safe and the tracing that goes along with that. So I think it's hard to imagine seeing anything resembling that. I still believe we play a 10-game schedule that may include 8 conference games or 9 conference games, 1 team from the ACC, and I know you and I were really high on the idea of including the Big 12 in that. I think with more conferences in lockstep with one another, it gives you more options for scheduling to fill your holes and working together. There's power in numbers, in my opinion.
Chris, the ACC meets tomorrow. Greg Sankey has continually said that the end of July was sort of when he wanted to have some kind of plan in place, at least for the beginning of the season. So with what has happened, with everything in mind, do you think we have a plan for at least the beginning of the season, whether it's pushed back or not, by the end of the week?
I do. Tony Barnhart put out an article yesterday about potential news of the ACC having their schedule in place tomorrow after those meetings. I have to believe that there's been a lot of conversation and collaboration between the SEC and the ACC. Again, I mean, there's too many good rivalry games at the end of the year that need to be played that I think that the commissioners are intent on playing. So that was what was so surprising to me. The Big Ten coming out when they did with very little communication with anybody else seemingly in the Power Five to decide to go on their own when they did at such a point on the calendar that didn't require that type of urgency was shocking. But to hear this report that the ACC may have word tomorrow after this meeting and we may know their exact schedule leads me to believe that this probably is something that's going to have the SEC tied in with it, and we should know something this week as well. Just my thoughts, though.
Chris, something we haven't really even discussed when we're talking about potentially the ACC, the SEC, maybe even the Big 12 kind of getting together and creating an 8-game conference schedule and plus 2 games. Who would be the home team in those ACC, SEC matchups in the games that weren't already in place? That as you know, that could be something that could be a sticking point as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could be potential sticking points, but I do think the pressure that comes along with making a schedule happen and having a season take place for the deliverables that go along with these television contracts. I mean, they need content that they can have because from what I understand is in addition to being required to deliver these games for the networks is that there's also cable deals that are up with each of these providers as well. So if you're not providing what you promised, that could create a renegotiation at the level with the cable and satellite providers too. So I know that is a point that both the ACC and the SEC would need to work through in terms of the home scheduling. But I think the downside of not working them out is much greater than it is, sacrificing, who's going to be the home team versus who's going to be the visitor in those games.
Chris, I'm glad you brought up television contracts because this brings me to Notre Dame. General consensus in this market is that the ACC caved to Notre Dame and gave them whatever they wanted. But the practicality of it is the ACC needs some of this TV money from NBC. So do the Irish finally have to share in order to earn their spot in this corona-driven schedule that we've got?
I sure hope so, man. I mean, I think probably a lot of us here in the South particularly were hoping that the ACC would leverage Notre Dame a little bit more, to try to get them to concede and ultimately decide to join the ACC full time. They've been out there playing by their own rules for so long that it's created a little bit of resentment, I think, amongst the rest of the college football fan base. It was, at least on the surface, the appearance of how flexible the ACC has been with them was a little surprising. But you bring up a good point that there very well may have been some ulterior motives behind the scenes, including some NBC television money and what that revenue might be, how that might be shared with the rest of the ACC conference members.
All right, CD, I want to ask you something. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because I'm not sure if you know this information, but we know that LSU has kind of started a football school, basically a walkthrough with a football, like a jog tempo, and we're starting to see some other schools kind of follow the same footprint. Has Florida decided, have they, gone into camp, have they done something like a football school to try to get ready for this season already?
Yeah, I actually I've seen some social media posts and I actually drove by on Saturday. They were out there and having some stuff going on the practice field. So I know that Florida's back doing as much as they can right now, and seemingly, much like what we've heard around the rest of the country and specifically the conference, seems like they have a pretty good handle on the testing. I mean, it seems like numbers are going down. The frequency of positive tests is decreasing, and that is a promising sign. I think all of us were a little caught off guard when the numbers seemed as high as they did when everybody first got there in June. But I do think there should be some credit given to these players because they understand a little bit more the responsibility that goes along with having a football season this year. And you and I talked about it on Monday morning, Hess, like now more than ever, that the coach saying we need every one of you is truer than ever because, somebody that's a 4-string quarterback, like you said, going into a quarterback room and potentially exposing those guys, it could really cause some detriment to a roster. And so I think everybody has to – I believe there's probably something that's got to be signed by these players saying that they're, almost a code of conduct and you're going to be – held to almost a curfew, so to speak. You're not going to go to these types of places. You're not going to go to parties because one person, even if they don't ever step on the field, if they get out there with their teammates in a meeting room or in a practice field and expose somebody, that can then run through the team and effectively end the season potentially. So I think it is true, man. Everybody's got a large responsibility in trying to make this happen.
Look, and I think it's going to be easier in other places than some as far as, hey, here's what we're doing, here's what we're going to do after practice, and not try to dictate exactly what they do, but for instance, if you're saying, hey, we're not going out to the bars, we're not going out there, we're not going to allow that to come into our team, I think you have coaches in the SEC that have so much clout over other guys. You look at, Coach O or Coach Saban compared to some of these guys in these new spots where Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin and Sam Pittman, they don't have those relationships. They don't have the players' trust enough to be able, to actually trust them and as far as doing the right things after hours.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's true. At the same time, here, what did we see last week? Lou Williams, put himself in a tough situation at a.
It's all about the chicken wings, CD.
Yeah, I mean, the chicken wings are good, I hear. I've never been to Magic City, but I hear that those are good wings there. But if a professional athlete's going to put himself into a situation like that, you got to believe that 18 to 22-year-old kid that may not have the same level of maturity is also going to be subject to that. So I do think these players have to understand, there's a lot riding on this, and their participation is going to be huge in giving us even an opportunity to see if the season can be played. And I do think that by what I've seen with the numbers, if those are accurate, the reportings from around the conference, it seems like players are understanding their role and taking that responsibility more seriously than they were maybe back in June.
Chris, we appreciate your time as always. We'll talk to you next week, and hopefully by that time we'll have some good news to talk about.
That sounds good, man. Appreciate you guys having me. Have a good week.
You too, CD.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com, helping you through this pandemic with, a couple of different options for you. Maybe a refi is exactly what you're looking for right now to free up a little bit of cash, to give you the opportunity to maybe skip a mortgage payment or two. And at this point, that might be just the ticket for you. And, of course, the long-term benefits of a lower interest rate are going to help you far, far into the future. Maybe you've been thinking about buying a new home, and at this point you'll have more purchasing power because of these historically low interest rates. Start your journey at gmfsmortgage.com, where you'll meet with a local counselor and discuss all of your options. It's a very easy initial consultation. You'll have everything laid out for you. Then you can make the best option for you and your family. From there, it's on to the closing, and I think you're going to be really pleased at how quickly that process goes. Do what I did. Do what thousands and thousands of others have done, and start that journey today at gmfsmortgage.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045espn.com.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office.
Coming up on Wednesdays, Off the Bench, the penultimate show before the Pelican season begins anew. Plus, the latest from LSU football school and the Saints report to camp. And a brand new Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you today by Rich Tonda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Inside the Bayou Ford Huddle, as an adult, I feel weird that I really like several Florida players who, when they played, I had to hate. Doering, Tebow, Palmer, and Warfel, to name a few. I haven't completely converted, but I will say Chris Doering is one of my best friends, and even though he played for Florida, it was definitely a mark against him for a long time, but we've evolved from that.
Florida was, at that time, the best team in the conference when those guys played. And there's always that sense of dislike for whoever's your biggest competition, whoever's beating you the most often. It's just happened to have been for Alabama over the last 8 years until last year. When those guys were playing, it was Florida. I mean, Spurrier beat LSU 11 out of 12, and all of those guys played, when he was there. And the one game that they won, it, took a Herculean effort to get over. And that's exactly what Alabama plays that role now. Listen, LSU had maybe the best team in college football history last year. I mean, certainly the resume proves that. Heisman Trophy winner, you go through all of the accolades. They won by 5. I know there were a couple of flukish plays in the game, but they won by 5. I mean, everything that they did last year, every accolade that they got, and there's a list as long as your arm, they won by 5. I know they should have won by 12. They should have won by 17. They won by 5.
Being at the game, they dominated.
They won by 5.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
they won.
And look, it took all of that to do. That's why Alabama's got the hate now. That was Florida in the mid-'90s.
Yeah,
I mean, I was there for 58-3. I was a student at that time.
Doering mentions that. He says that one of the biggest regrets in his college football career is he didn't have the opportunity to play LSU in Death Valley when it was LSU in Death Valley. It was really the down period more than any other that I can remember in LSU football history.
Oh, that's a fact. That's not even anybody's opinion. That's a fact.
And he's like, we played like an 11 a.m. game, he thinks, one year, and it was hotter than hot, and there wasn't that many fans in the stands compared to what it normally is. And he talks about that.
I remember 58-3.
That's the one he talks about.
That was at night, but I remember that one very well because I was home sleeping by the second quarter. Kind of dozed through the middle part of the game. I was a student, went home and went to sleep.
How many times have you left an LSU football game? I've only done it once.
When I was a student, or
is it something you've done a lot?
I went to school in the Curly Holman era. We were in the bars for more second halves than we were in the stadium. I mean,
I only left in I think it was 2014. The game Brandon Harris started at Auburn. It's the only game I've ever left. I only had pregame responsibilities. I didn't have postgame at the time. I drove back to Montgomery at halftime and didn't even listen to the game on the radio. I was that mad.
The 1992 season we spent in Sports Illustrated, okay? I mean, it was sports at the time. We spent halfway between Sports and Fred's is where we were for just about the entire 1992 season. Probably sharing a little bit too much there. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
I would make fun of him, except I forgot to plug in my computer earlier, so
No. If you want to know the best Huntism to start off this Tuesday, Hunt Palmer edition, he was about to go on live radio and did not put his microphone in front of him. So there was no microphone. He had his headset on. He was ready to listen but not talk.
Like I said, I would make more fun of him if I hadn't forgotten to plug my computer in early.
Hey.
All right, that's good.
Good to see you made
Microphones
it.
help.
Good to see you made it. I mean, I figured with the party you're throwing that the Cubs are doing so well, or at least
we're 3-1.
You know,
Kimbrel stinks.
That's
okay.
Hey, it does. Thank you for signing him and not allowing the Braves to re-sign him.
Hang on. Hendricks throws a complete game shutout on opening night. Rizzo's home with 3 times in 4 games, and that's what you're leading with?
Well, if Ross is going to
Nancy.
keep trotting him out there in the 9th inning like a clown, but the good news is I've screamed at my television last night, so we're pretty much back to normal.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear, huh?
I didn't have to scream on Friday night because Hendricks dominated and we won 3-0. No big
deal. Did you enjoy your scotch? Did you enjoy
your
steak?
I did enjoy the steak. It was
did your
delicious.
girlfriend leave you alone? Did she let
did.
you watch the game?
She did.
All right.
It was all good. And so things are pretty much back to normal. For those who care more deeply about something else, whether it's NBA, whether it's college football, whether it's the Saints, whatever, and you don't care about Major League Baseball, so you haven't watched, I can confirm that not having any fans in the stands hasn't really affected my viewing of the games.
Strangely enough, it hasn't mine either.
Me either.
I haven't. It hasn't been that big of a deal. I don't know how the players feel about it. You know, I've heard a few things where, you know, yeah, it's strange, but then you get into the game and you get used to it. But no, that for me hasn't made much of a difference watching.
I don't think baseball is a sport that depends on the fans either to get a little juice. Now, football is going to be the one when you talk to the players, and I'll be very interested to see how that works because that's the only situation that I know and professionally, and even when we didn't have large crowds, right? Even in San Diego when they didn't show up, that felt strange. And so football is the one sport where you got to get some juice. But as far as viewership, baseball, I've been okay with it. Now, the cardboard cutouts, whatever you want to do, if you're watching the Fox broadcast and they want to put, computer fans there in the stands, whatever you got to do to make you feel better about your broadcast. I'm just worried about what's taking place in between the lines.
All right. You had an interesting question for us during the break, so share.
All right, so since last segment, and Hunt, I don't know if you were listening there in the hallway, we were talking about teams that we did not have a strong like for, and obviously the Florida Gators comes to mind with me, and that was our rival when I was playing at LSU, and I mentioned, Chris Doering is one of my best friends now, and he played at Florida. I'm really growing, and so I do want to go around the room, and I want to hear from y'all, who is your favorite player from the team you hate the most? Just one player where you're like, God, I wish he played for some other team because I would really cheer for him. I might even buy his jersey if he played for somebody else. Because we got some inside the huddle. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but Eric Rett and Fred Taylor come from Brent inside the Bayou Ford huddle as far as Florida players that he liked but obviously did not like Florida.
I'll give you mine from Alabama, and who is my least favorite team by far. But I loved the way this guy played. He was terrific at Alabama. He was a very good pro. D'Amico Ryans. I loved the way that guy. I thought he just played every down exactly the way you're supposed to, as hard as he could. I just thought the guy was terrific, and I hated that he played for Alabama.
I can tell you, playing against him, he was a very smart football player. He was always where he was supposed to be, and even if he wasn't, he found a way to make up for it. I know the overtime game that we won in 2005, I ran a rail route, and he took a bad path to it, but he was able to adjust to the ball almost like a defensive back, and even in the moment, I was like, damn, that was impressive. The way he flipped his hips and turned into a defensive back, and so he was a very, very good football player. Played hard too.
Yeah, that was mine. I remember that when the Texans took him with the first pick of the second round, I remember being very aggravated that the Saints hadn't had some kind of plan. This was the year before the Sean Payton era started. Mm-hmm. Like, man, y'all let that guy get through the first round. And he was, and sure enough, I think his second year in the league, he was a first-team All-Pro for the Texans. So, that would be mine. I like the way Ryans played.
See, the way you framed it in the break, I had a cop-out answer, which I'll give as I continue to think of one that more fits the question you posed. But mine, 100%, is Dexter Fowler. When you go deep off Corey Kluber to lead off Game 7 in the World Series and win a title, and then you go play for the Cardinals, I still love him. But he plays for the team that I hate the most. I can't think of anybody in the SEC that I remotely have any positive feelings toward. I just when you put on those clothes, I can't deal with it.
Some other team. I mean, there were other guys that I liked in the league. I liked watching AJ Green play for Georgia. Just a tremendous amount of respect for the way he played the game, and watching him go up against Patrick Peterson was entertaining, football. I mean, that was two pros on a college field going at it. Those are, I'll tell you, an Auburn guy that I absolutely love was a linebacker. This is from the early 90s named Marcellus Mostella, who was just a terrific player. He was one of the guys that I really liked.
Takeo Spikes was another one.
Takeo
from
Spikes
Auburn.
played right on the side of him. Those two guys, they were on the same team, and those were some really, really solid. That was Terry Bowden. Those were some really, really good Auburn defenses.
I know for me, another one, a guy that I've always respected and probably paid attention to his career more than any other player that I didn't play with was Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
When he was at Ole Miss, and
great one.
the Ole Miss rivalry still meant something when I was in school. I mean, the old heads made sure that, hey, it's Ole Miss week. Those were things that were talked about. And I tell you what, I would just be on the sideline if I wasn't in. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to watch him this play because he's going to do something. I mean, he is going to make a play somewhere. And then we played each other every single year in the NFL, either in the preseason because being on the West Coast or in the regular season. And the respect I had for him was more than any football player I ever played against. I'm talking about Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, all those guys, great players. But the respect that I have for Patrick Willis because he wasn't always on the best team, but it didn't matter. He wasn't always healthy. In fact, a lot of times he had a club on his hand, but it didn't matter. He was out there, and he was going to go full bore the entire game. And I don't know if I played against a better defensive player my entire career.
That's a good one. And, he's one of those guys that even though his career was shortened, is going to get strong consideration for the Hall of Fame. And I say that because if he had played even 2 or 3 more years, he'd be an absolute first ballot shoo-in, in my opinion. The only thing they're going to ask is, okay, you hung it up at 30, but I still think he probably gets in. Maybe not on the first ballot, but I think he still gets in. That guy was great.
Who was the team that when you were in school? Because it changes for LSU, which I like the fact that the rival kind of changes and there's so many different teams you can point to.
I don't know if you can count one when Curly's coaching.
No, but when you were in school, what was the game that meant something?
Auburn.
It was Auburn.
It was Auburn. They had, gosh, if you go back in the 92 game where Jamie Howard almost led the comeback at Jordan-Hare, and Auburn kicked the field goal at the end, and Curly lost it in the post-game press conference. And then you go to the 93 game, Auburn kind of dominated. That was 34-10 here. 94, though, was the interception game. 95 was the bring back the magic game. No, I'm out of school by this time, but 96 was the Bourne Burns down game. 97 was the Cecil Collins game. 98 was the game that they won before the season went in the tank. I mean, you get the idea every
Cigar
year.
game.
That was
Coming
99.
out,
99 was a cigar game. So
last time they won in here, Cole Kubelik, you hear that?
Listen, there was a lot of games in the 90s that LSU was out of it by the time they got to November and October even. But Auburn, most of those games that I just mentioned were early in the year where you still had hope, and something bizarre always happened.
All right, let's flip this deal. Inside the Bayou Fort Huddle, great suggestion here from an anonymous user. Who did you hate the most? The player on the team you hated the most that you could not stand. It didn't matter if he made it to your professional team. You still weren't going to like him very much.
This should really be easier, right?
It's
this should. Well, you go ahead and go first because I got a whole list. But
So do I.
Go right ahead.
I got a whole list.
Well,
for me, it's Tebow because he was taking the snap on every play, and I just never thought he was going to make a mistake. It wasn't that he lit LSU up. He was going to pick up 3rd and 2. He wasn't going to throw a pick. Thankfully, in the 07 game, he threw one that got tipped up in the air, and we got a pick on it. But I just always thought I thought he was going to make whatever play he had to make, and he just drove me nuts.
I'm going to go with Brandon Spikes from Florida. Habitual line crosser under the pile, gouging eyes, grabbing stuff, late hitting, talk trash for no reason. Florida, Patriots, it didn't matter who he was playing for, Bills. It was always going to be the same thing. And you just look at him after a while and be like, why did you do that? Like, why would you do that?
He punted. He had a pick 6 in Gainesville, and he punted the ball over my head. I was sitting in the end zone. He punted it over.
Habitual line crosser, Hanny.
Okay. Well, there's so many Alabama guys I could probably pick from, but I'll give you Andre Smith just right at the top because I thought he was a good player. I always thought that he was made out to be better than he was because he was playing at Alabama, and his pro career has been kind of meh for a top 10 pick, and maybe he's just at the top of mine because he was one of the guys that opted out today. He's a reserve for Baltimore now. I was never a big A.J. McCarron guy. You had to give the guy credit for the game that he played that night, but it was never my favorite guy either.
A.J. in person's a really good human being,
Okay,
but I can understand on the field because
I've never met him.
Hey,
Hanny,
before I met him,
right,
thinking the same thing. I was like, dang it, why'd you have to be a nice guy?
I've never had an easier time hating anybody than Yadi Molina because he's just a crybaby.
I think I can back that up. You warned me before the Braves played them in the playoffs last year. Hey, just watch this guy, and he chirps all the time for
By
nothing.
the way, no one talks about the fact that he blocked a pitch and it stuck to his chest protector.
See, what I find the funniest thing here is that Hunt hasn't realized we're talking about football yet.
It's baseball season.
So how did the ball? I'll play
exactly.
along. How did the ball stick to his chest protector?
Because he's a cheater.
Tell him why you mad, son. Pine tar?
He's so hateable. He complains and whines and cries and gets in fights and he's just the worst.
Okay, the Bill Lambier of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it.
He's also very good, which irritates me as well.
This is
for a long time.
This is a very easy transition then into first class, second class, no class. We'll just do that in the next segment here. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, as you know, we're brought to you by Baton Rouge Foundation Repair. Are you considering buying a house that has foundation problems? Some companies say that their work will fail if there is a poor drainage around your slab and you might be asked to pay again. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair's water chill pilings are engineered to withstand poor drainage conditions. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair has been servicing the greater Baton Rouge area for more than 22 years, and their owner, Michael LaMonica, is a lifelong resident of Baton Rouge. I'm going to tell you this every single day because I think it's important. The first thing out of his mouth the first time I met him was, I am going to do right by the people in Baton Rouge. I'm not going to try and fool them. Don't be asked to pay twice for your foundation repair work. Get Baton Rouge Foundation Repair's water chill pilings. And estimates, they're always free. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair can be reached at 225-275-0101. That's 225-275-0101. And also at brfoundation.com. That's brfoundation.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping...
Yo, join us for a Tuesday edition of Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richard's Honda. We'll have Chris Doering at the SEC Network. Hunt Palmer sits in for an hour. And also three-time All-American linebacker James Laurinaitis on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First Second No is brought to you by Relief Telemed. Relief is for businesses with frequent interactions with the public, like restaurants and retail stores, service-based businesses, those businesses that can't afford to shut down or send employees home. Relief's COVID mitigation platform takes the hassle, chaos, and stress out of having your employees tested for COVID. And the process starts with a video visit with a physician, ends with a custom action plan for every employee. And through the dashboard, you'll know exactly when your employees can come back to work.
They offer on-site and off-site testing options, have the option to get COVID results in as little as 24 hours. Relief is the market leader for a rapid response COVID testing. Be on site within 24 hours and have your business operational in 48. I can attest to this. Walk on Shreveport, had an issue, they fixed it, never missed a day. Relief Telemed is the option to go to. You can check them out online, relieftelemed.com/stopthespread. Also, their direct line, 225-244-6093.
All right, first class. Jake, lead us off.
All right, I'm going to go first class. I'm going to take some low-hanging fruit here. I'm just going to say Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is first class for me because today is his payday. $36 million. We've already talked about the signing bonus. Over $20 million after taxes. You're going to get about 12, Joe. So the tax man's going to get his. But he has done everything first class from the moment he stepped on campus in Baton Rouge until now. About his work ethic, his schedule, the way he went about his business, the way he treated his teammates, the way he treated everybody in that building. He has been first class. I don't think anybody could have ever guessed that it would work out the way it did, but it did because of his hard work and his dedication. Heisman Trophy winner, #1 overall pick, the best quarterback season we've ever seen in college football, all of those things, and he has stayed humble and hungry throughout this entire process. He is now the biggest legend in LSU football history. Him and Dr. Billy Cannon are one in the same now. I never thought anybody would get on that level, but Joe Burrow is on that level. So today he is my first class because he has been first class the entire time we've known him.
Very good. I got a baseball theme for mine today. So I tried to pick out what was the one performance over the weekend that kind of stood out to me. So I'm going to go with the Twins and Nelson Cruz. They scored 30 runs in 3 games. And Cruz came out of the gate swinging .538, 3 homers, 10 ribbies, and his OPS is 1956. That's pretty good. The Twins were not the favorites in the AL, but they were one of the next group. If you got past the Yankees and past the Astros, they fit into that next tier. They can swing it. They hit over 300 home runs last year, and they're off to a big start. The bullpen got blown up on Saturday, so they lost the game, but they can swing it and Nelson Cruz is swinging it as well as anybody right out the gate. So Twins and Nelson Cruz, my early baseball first class.
I'm going to go baseball, kind of. Football, kind of. You know when they ask you get your big payday, what's the first thing you're going to buy? Patrick Mahomes bought the Royals.
Dang it.
Not all the Royals, not the entirety of the organization, but he bought a piece of it with that huge payday that he got. That's cool to me. His dad obviously played in big leagues for a while, and for him to kind of have that type of thought as opposed to going and buying 6 houses and how much jewelry you can buy a piece of a baseball team.
That's good.
I'll piggyback on this one because it was my second class. I am right there with you. He said, I'm honored to become a part owner of the Kansas City Royals. I love this city and the people of this great town. This opportunity allows me to deepen my roots in this community, which is something I'm excited to do. So for all the reasons that Hunt Palmer just said, there's a lot of things you can do with new money. He wants to make sure he is integrated within this community. We've already seen a ton of the charity work that he's done in this community. When you talk to Tyrann Mathieu, when you talk to other guys who have been his teammate, they say he's a first-class guy in everything that he does. He seems extremely humble. You're right, his dad played in the big leagues. And so I think this is a very cool story. He's not from Kansas City, but he wants to deepen his roots in that community. So for me, that's my second class.
I like that. It brings me back to something Peyton Manning said when he was drafted by the Colts. He said, the first thing I want to do is go there, buy a home, move my family there. I wanted to be a part of the organization, part of the community, not just, hey, listen, I could go back to Knoxville and train. I could go back to New Orleans and train the offseason. No, I live here full-time, year-round. I'm all in, and it seems that that's exactly what Mahomes is doing here. My second class is the Philadelphia Phillies for no other reason than I'm just looking for positive signs that we're handling this in a manner in which it does provide some hope. It ain't perfect. A lot of days it feels like everything is going wrong. I'm just tired of being beat over the head with every negative story and every negative slant and everything wrong that can possibly go wrong. And if there's nothing going wrong that particular day, let me tell you what could go wrong, and I'm just tired of it. And the Marlins story just slapped us in the face yesterday. I mean, it was a gut punch, and it stunk, and it still stinks, and I know it's not over. But on the other side of this thing, the Phillies were in the game. They were on the field with these guys, and they came out of it unscathed, giving me some hope that potentially if the protocols are followed a little bit better. And look, Rob Manfred's an easy punching bag, okay? Guy's done plenty of things wrong, and I wouldn't want him leading my organization. But at least yesterday it was, listen, we put protocols in place. We put contingencies in place for when we eventually had this. No, it's not what we wanted, but we're going to try to move through this. Listen, that's a little bit refreshing to me. If you want to talk about all of the mistakes he made in getting up to that point, I'm fine. There's a long, long list. And like I said, he's a very easy punching bag. He's a very easy target because he screwed plenty of stuff up. But in this particular case, I'm encouraged by the fact that he didn't just panic and say, oh, that's it. One team didn't follow the protocols. Everybody go home. So it's at least good. Great would be if everybody followed the rules and we were able to move forward with this without any more outbreaks of this kind, if it's at all possible to prevent that. So second class, good with a chance to be great. Maybe I'm just sunshine and happiness today, but good with a chance to possibly be great. Maybe this is the warning shot across the bow that they needed.
On Sunday afternoon, nobody likes to watch Tiger Woods chase a major more than me. Or I'd love to watch Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas and Brooks Koepka battle it out in an ancillary tour event. That doesn't happen every week. Sunday, Michael Thompson won the 3M Open, which doesn't get any headlines, and no one really cares because they don't know who Michael Thompson is. But the fact of the matter is that when he does that, he makes 10% of his career earnings right there, gets $1 million purse.
What's that after taxes, Jake? Sorry.
Plus, he gets a 2-year exemption on the tour for winning. It is literally life-changing for him. Brooks Koepka wins the 3M Open. Doesn't really change his life much. It's a nice Sunday. He's happy and excited and go home and probably have a couple beers. But this changes this guy's life. And it would be better if he won the PGA in 2 weeks or if he won the U.S. Open or the Masters or whatever. But winning on the tour is a big deal, and I like sometimes, I don't want to see it every week because I like to see the stars do battle, but every once in a while you kind of get a peek behind the curtain, and he did a post-round interview on Sunday and just started crying. It's like, he couldn't believe that it happened to him, and that's an awesome thing.
He's a former Tulane golfer, and he was at Tulane playing golf when Katrina hit, so he had to transfer his last year, transferred to Alabama. You mentioned all those tournaments that'd be great if he won. He gets into all of those tournaments now. He gets he gets into the PD, he gets into all of the majors, gets to go to the Masters next year, and that 2-year exemption means it. Well, like he said, I got a job for the next 2 years. Moved himself all the way up to 39th in the world. If you want, I'm going to make one recommendation. If you want to know what life is like trying to break in on a PGA Tour and breaking through with a win, and know sometimes what the wildlife is, this is a little bit of a dated book. Go read Blood, Sweat, and Tears by Alan Shipnuck about Rich Beam, who tried to get onto the PGA Tour for a while, finally did get in there, won a tournament, and then, oh my, it's an entertaining story.
PGA.
Later in his career, he did win the PGA.
All right, so here is my no class, and before I let you know who it is, I think you're going to be able to guess after you hear this audio. Here's Bill Polian on the Adam Schefter podcast.
No, Joe Burrow's going to struggle. He's going to struggle. He's so far behind now, Lord. You know, this is Bill Parcells. The best way to learn how to play football is to play football. And we play football in training camp and in OTAs to a certain extent, and we're not doing that this year. So there will be, those guys will have a hard time. By the way, this is a statistic that I verified the other day. It's through 2013, I believe, from 1996 to 2013. So it's a big enough sample size to be accurate. First-round quarterbacks exceed at a winning level in their first 2 years at 34% of the time. Try that one on for size.
Hey, Bill, let me tell you something. Save your hot takes. I don't need to hear you speak again about anything in this day and age of the NFL. Lamar Jackson should be a receiver. Well, he won the MVP. Hey, Tyrann Mathieu, I wouldn't draft that guy. He's not a leader. He doesn't deserve the opportunity to provide for his family. Well, okay, he's been a 3-time captain on multiple franchises in the NFL. He's one of the highest paid position players in the NFL. He's done everything right for his community. He continues to give back to Louisiana. He gives to the Kansas City community and has been a model teammate. So how about you save your hot takes, Bill? Just because y'all stink in Indianapolis there when Peyton was a rookie because you didn't put together a good roster, that does not mean that Joe Burrow is going to struggle. The guy's been working his ass off since January 19th when he left Baton Rouge to go to Cincinnati or go wherever he's been to work hard. It could be in his parents' basement. It doesn't matter. We know the work ethic that this young man has. He is going to make sure he is ready. You don't have preseason games, so I've got multiple weeks to get to throw with my teammates, run my offense. If you don't think that Joe Burrow knows every single aspect of the Cincinnati Bengals playbook right now, Bill Polian, then you're not very good. You're not good at your job because he knows it in and out. The Cincinnati Bengal coaching staff has already said, hey, we've had to kind of pull back on Joe Burrow because he is too advanced. He knows too much, and we want to be able to install that with him and go along with the other rookies. So, Bill Polian, save your hot takes. You were a great GM in your day for multiple franchises. You probably should thank Peyton Manning every day when you go to sleep. But this day and age in football, you don't know what you're talking about. Lamar Jackson, a receiver. Tyrann Mathieu, not a team leader. The guy's done everything the right way since he's been in the NFL. Just because you have one bump in the road doesn't mean that your life's over. He has changed his life and doesn't try to hide from it either. So save your hot takes. I don't need to hear from you ever again.
Okay, I can't defend the Matthew and the Jackson stuff, but let me play devil's advocate here for a second. Burrow has been doing all of this stuff basically sequestered. They've all been sequestered. So he's got to start from scratch here when they take the field next week. We've seen some of the top rookies come into the league and they don't get it right away. Manning didn't, but that's 2 decades ago. I'm talking Patrick Mahomes didn't get it right away. He didn't play as a rookie for the Chiefs.
But we don't know that.
Well,
if he would have played, he had a veteran quarterback who's a very good quarterback in front of him.
Right. Well, and as soon as he got in, but I'm saying he basically had a redshirt year. Deshaun Watson
Do you
didn't
think
play
Patrick
until about
Mahomes
halfway
was on
through.
the same level as Joe Burrow when he got into the league as far as
no
playbooks and stuff?
No, I don't think it's that outlandish a take that him missing OTAs and on-field stuff while he's gone is going to hamper a rookie quarterback. You call it a hot take. I don't consider it a hot take. I think it's probably what more people are expecting, given the Bengals roster and given the fact that they haven't been on the field together until Saturday, whenever they start.
Oh, Hanny.
Now, I understand he's been doing stuff. I know he's doing things, but he's not doing things in the traditional manner. And rookie quarterbacks, even that do things in the traditional manner, sometimes struggle. So I don't know that it's all that outlandish a take.
It is. Oh, Lord, Joe Burrow's going to struggle. Hey, Bill, every time you've said something in the last decade, it's been the complete opposite. So everybody's dealing with that right now. Everybody is dealing with this certain situation. Yeah, but it's different
when Phillip Rivers goes into the building for the first time this week. He's been in the league for 16 years, okay? You would admit, right, that it's different when a rookie goes in there for the first time.
Yeah, but
and he's got to be the team leader, and this is all.
But to say he's going to struggle like Bill Polian did, like he's going to be one of the worst rookie quarterbacks, or he's going to have numbers that aren't respectable, that's just outlandish. And to act like he won't be ready.
I thought he just said he was going to struggle. I mean, what do we consider struggle? We'll put numbers to it. What do we? Because he's going to start. It's not going to be like Mahomes or Watson.
It's his team.
Or Jackson. It's not going to start from the beginning. Yeah, it's his team, and that's a lot for a rookie that's going to have less than an optimal offseason. Not his fault, just the way it goes. And I think he'll do fine, but I don't expect to see him in a Pro Bowl. I mean, I don't expect to see him at the top of the league passing charts.
But to say that he's going to struggle because he was not in the building, that's not knowing this young man. That's
I think he'll be prepared. I don't have any doubt that he has done everything he can do. But even when you do everything you can do, it's still tough for rookie quarterbacks. No? Quarterbacks in the NFL?
I mean, a rookie quarterback, yes, that poses a challenge, but a lot of rookie quarterbacks, because of coverages, because of different things, they're not prepared. This is as prepared as a quarterback can be.
Speed of the game?
Speed of the game compared from high school to college is look, you played against a lot of these guys on Saturdays. The speed of the game, that jump from the SEC to the NFL is not near as great as high school to the SEC.
Okay.
Not near as great. And so
nobody rooting for Joe Burrow more than me.
I know, but he
got under your skin, I can tell.
Because you don't say stuff about people that you don't know about. Like, you don't know Tyrann Mathieu, and from that moment, Bill Polian lost all respect for me.
Now, the Mathieu
so this goes back to
the Mathieu take, the Jackson take. I'm with you.
The Jackson take, okay, well, yeah, you were dead wrong, but the Mathieu take, that is ambushing somebody's personality. Did Tyrann make mistakes? Absolutely. Who's the first to admit he made mistakes?
Yeah.
Tyrann.
No, he missed on that one. I don't think this is that outlandish to say that this is going to be a lot for Joe Burrow to have to overcome early, especially with the team that he's on. We'll see.
We're gonna have. We're having a big bet during the break. We're coming up with numbers. Now y'all got me really fired up.
He's doing his Jimmy Ott now. He's putting me on the other side of the argument.
I can't help you don't like Joe Burrow.
See, boy, that is right out of the Jimmy Ott.
All right, don't y'all have a no class to tell us about?
Well, I'm just going to shorten mine. The Marlins, okay, for obvious reasons, and I'll shut up then.
Nick Saban.
Okay, now that made me laugh. We just go to break on that. Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
104.5 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janny King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Janny King, the king of clean.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Saints team physician Chip Bankston will be with us, and we'll talk recruiting with Steve Wiltfong from 24/7 Sports. Hopefully you'll join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hunt wishes there was crying in baseball.
It's not true.
You don't even think that in the case of Yadi Molina?
He cries all the time.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to.
Yadi Molina.
Yeah.
What that guy.
All right. We'll go for some of your submissions. First class to Mookie Betts for making that contract. That was a very nice looking contract. For him, for sure, last week. What was it? No class. Where was it? No class to Mahomes for buying the Royals. Royals are a bad investment. Jacob, you kind of took that one and turned it inside out, right?
Yeah. So the New York Knicks are the most valuable NBA franchise. They're in the top 7 in the world, all sports. When you look at the worth of a franchise, and they've been bad for a long time, and not only bad, historically laughable bad. And so that doesn't always tell the story. Now, the Knicks, I understand they're in New York, but we could point to a lot of franchises. Hell, the Dallas Cowboys. Been a long time since they've won something. valuable franchise. So that doesn't always wins and losses doesn't tell you exactly what your franchise is worth.
Can I give you
the Oakland A's?
The Oakland A's. I'll give you one that's up for sale right now. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Glenn Taylor bought that team for about $90 million in 1994. He's going to sell it for over $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, well over $1 billion. Maybe the Kevin Garnett Group is the one that buys it. So yes, they have proven to be over time unbelievable.
And that's why
investments.
everyone was kicking and screaming when the baseball ownership group was pushing back on, well, we're going to lose a couple million here, we're going to lose 10 million here, 30 million here. Well, if you're worried about it, just sell the team for $1 billion. I don't want to hear about your financial problems. Let's play baseball.
Nook says, first class to the diligent neighbor looking out for renegade gatherings and kids' birthday parties and reporting them to the local news. That story's not going to die anyway anytime soon, right? That one's going to be with us for a little bit.
I think so. I don't know the full backstory.
Oh, Matt told a story.
You started to tell it the other day, but
Matt told a story on the air. One of his neighbors reported Drew's birthday party for too many people at the gathering and people leaving the house not wearing masks.
Well, if you don't watch out, they're going to report you for having a gathering, and it's just going to be your kids.
Well, we said it.
Too many people over there.
Hey, Hunt, we said it yesterday. The NFL's number's been 15. I said, well, if the Rivers and Hesters went out to eat, we'd be 2 over.
Well, something to think about.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Hester, this was for you. It says, if LSU fans said Burrow was great in 2018, because it wasn't great in 2018 because he was new and didn't have a full offseason with the team, the same LSU fans are saying not having a rookie camp in the preseason, no big deal for Burrow.
Well, I tell you, he's had longer to get ready for this season than he did for the LSU season. The offense is completely different.
That's fair. That's fair. He got here in July.
I'm not done. There's 7-man protections. There's a better you've got dynamic playmakers, professionals compared to college players. You've got a really good running back in Joe Mixon. You've got an offensive coach that is kind of the coordinator / head coach that they've been in place for 2 years, and they know what their direction is. They have more talent on that roster. They had John Ross, who was a former top 10 pick, expecting big things from him. A.J. Green's going to be healthy. So,
you mad?
Oh, I'm not mad. No, I'm not mad at all. I'm just proving my point. I know somebody – one of our loyal listeners said I had no class for calling out Bill Polian. Okay, well, that's the same guy that has 0 class for calling out Tyrann Mathieu, who is one of my favorite people in this world. So I don't care. If I don't have class in this subject, that's fine. You can nominate me every day.
I don't think he actually said no class at all. He was just pointing out the similarities. And you point out the differences. I think that's fair. Before Burrow got here, he had a month. Before the 18 season, he had about a month
He got here at the very end of May, and
I meant with the team.
With the team,
about a month.
You can't be with the coaches in June and July.
Right. Brody says Cincinnati has a loaded roster and easy schedule than people would think. Wouldn't be surprised they slipped into the 7 seed. They definitely upgraded in the offseason. They were more active in free agency than they've ever been. I think a lot of it depends on what they get out of A.J. Green. Joe Mixon is a quality back. They've got a lot of money in a 31-year-old A.J. Green who has been hurt for the last 2.5 years.
We had that conversation. I think it was week 1 of the show, and I do think that's completely fair. I do also agree with the take that, they do have Joe Mixon. Giovanni Bernard is a nice little third-down running back. They do have A.J. Green coming back. Tyler Boyd had 1,000 yards last year. T. Higgins, draft pick this year. So they do have some talent. Their defense has probably more talent than their offense right now as far as proven commodities, and they did sign a ton of free agents where they just don't do that. In fact, Von Bell from the Saints was one of those free agents.
Well, I mean, I think they're clearly a couple of notches behind the Ravens, who are the best team in that division. I have no idea what the Steelers are going to look like.
Which is weird that we don't know who the Steelers are, because we've always kind of known.
The Browns are, they're nice on paper, but they're not going to be any good.
Let's see, where are we at? First class to Jake for showing real emotion on this. Well,
yeah, I don't fake rants. There's no point in doing that. I'm not going to sit here and yell and high pitched if I don't believe in something. But no, that's something that has always rubbed me wrong since it came out. From the moment he said that about Tyrann, and knowing Tyrann on a very personal level, that rubbed me the wrong way. And then Lamar Jackson, who knew he was a quarterback, and you're telling him because you think he's fast that he's going to be a receiver. That's just, to me, that's in poor taste.
He doesn't fake rants. He doesn't stage rants. He doesn't even Ronnie rants.
I don't anymore, Ronnie. I have to wait on you getting here as the show open hits.
That was too easy. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by our title sponsor, Richards Honda, every single day. You can find them online at richardshonda.com, where you can do it all. In the bottom left corner, it tells you exactly how long you have left to save during the current offers. You got 3 days, 10 hours, and 13 minutes. In the bottom right corner, you can have a conversation with sales right there on the website. Any question you're going to have, they're going to be able to answer it right there on the spot. Of course, you can schedule service right there for the state-of-the-art service center that's waiting on you to come check it out. Order parts and accessories right there on the website as well. But go see them at 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville. I tell you, every single day, they've got over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles that are waiting for you to come check them out. You're going to find something you love, no matter if it's a car, if it's a hybrid, mid-size SUV. I know they've got you covered with the CRV, the HRV, and the Passport. The full-size SUV Pilot, which seats 8, the Odyssey minivan, the Ridgeline truck. As you can tell, they've got something for everybody and every lifestyle over at Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Live NBA play-by-play returns this week. Thursday night, catch the Lakers and Clippers at 8. The Mavericks host the Rockets Friday at 8. And Sunday at 2:30, the Boston Celtics host the Portland Trail Blazers. Your home for the NBA is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted.
Join us Tuesday night for Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. Matt Yeoman of VSiN Sports will join the show as we're live from Doe's Eat Place from 6 to 8 p.m. Catch it on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
First class, second class, and no class. Wrapping up with some of your submissions. And thanks to the folks also at Hungry Howie's.
Always thanks to the folks at Hungry Howie's. We talk pizza when we talk Hungry Howie's. You know about the delicious flavor crust. But let's talk subs. We got the classic turkey club with turkey, ham, bacon, mozzarella, side of mayo. You can get creative with the chicken, bacon, and ranch sub. That's just grilled chicken, bacon, and some mozzarella. Get the meatball sub. That's actually my favorite. Or you can get real creative and go the Pizza Deluxe. Any 3 pizza toppings you want with that marinara sauce and that delicious Hungry Howie's bread that they bake in-house every single day. Get the Hungry Howie's app. Go to hungryhowies.com. Set your order time. Set your pickup time. You can pick things up at Hungry Howie's right there. Nicholson, just south of campus at Lee. Hungry Howie's bringing you Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt every single Tuesday and Thursday when I'm here.
Got a first class for
a lot of H's.
It is.
I like it.
First class for Austin Nola, who is now catching for the Seattle Mariners. And, you know, you want to talk about a guy who worked his way, just kept at it, got into the big leagues for good last year and ended up playing mostly first base for Seattle last year. But he had put in some time as a catcher at the AAA level and now is back catching for Seattle. He's opened up 2 for 9, but I like stories like that. I like stories that guys who just keep after it, and then eventually are rewarded.
I cannot come up with a comp for that story where you take a guy's best tool. His best tool at LSU was his defense at shortstop.
Yeah.
And took that away, and the guy it would be like if Garrett Temple became a 3-point specialist for somebody. Like, you take what a guy does best and ask him to do something totally different, and he still makes it work. It's a heck of a story for sure. I
can't come up with a better comp than that. That's really good. And so you give him credit for, you know, just keeping after it and, you know, finally able to get up there and stick. And just, you know, Mariners aren't expected to do much this year, but the big leagues is the big leagues, man. So
as long as you can stick around, for sure, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Earlier in the show, we talked about guys from teams that we weren't big fans of, and they were thriving. I remember when Dansby Swanson was at Vanderbilt, I was like, God, this guy's just too good. And I'm always going to be like, well, he's not as good as Bregman, right? Because we're LSU people, and Alex Bregman has, in the professional ranks, been a far superior player so far than Dansby Swanson. But kind of first class to him for this year, batting .400, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Because I understand that pressure that he has because he was the number 1 pick, because Alex Bregman is thriving so much in his professional career. He got traded before he even debuted with the Diamondbacks, and so a lot of people, they write a guy like Dansby Swanson off already. He's had a nice season last year before he got hurt. This season so far, like I mentioned, he's doing extremely well. So, you know, first class to him for dealing with that pressure, you know, not just caving and continuing to try to grow as a professional. Although it's not what Alex Bregman is. Bregman's one of the MVP candidates every single year the last 3 years in the AL. But he's having a nice little career resurgence, if you will.
And Bregman hit his 100th homer last night.
He did.
Already.
Yeah.
That's quick.
How about no class to you for not telling me not to draft Mike Fultonevich in my fantasy draft? He
That's
gave
fair.
up about 400 runs yesterday.
Good news is he's not giving up anymore.
Yeah, he's see ya.
Designated for a assignment weekend.
Can you blame Paul O'Neill as well?
Yeah, well, he'll take a little blame.
You got a little no class there. I'll take
Not as
that no
close to
class
him.
because you're exactly right. And I actually wanted to talk about that today because that's something that Hanny mentioned. Hey, these leashes, they're not going to be as long. Hey, you give up a couple of runs, and Brian Snicker, the manager for the Atlanta Braves, kind of said, like, no, there's a sense of urgency here. We can't allow somebody to work through whatever struggles they're going through. And he lost some velocity. I mean, he lost, I think it was like
he was
4 or
throwing
5.
91 yesterday.
Yeah, and he's a 95, 96 guy. He lives there, right? And he was throwing 91 and really kind of lived around 90 yesterday. And we can't wait. We can't wait for him to figure these things out because of the 60-game schedule. We've got to make a move, and we have to make it fast. They DFA'd a guy who made the All-Star game 2 years ago. A different baseball, man. It's a different year, and you're going to see moves. This won't be the last move like that where a name you recognize gets DFA'd because they just don't have the time to wait.
A question out of the huddle. This is for Hunt. How does the LSU golf course play for beginners?
The LSU golf course right there on Nicholson across from campus, that's a good spot for beginners. You go to U Club where the LSU golf team plays and you're a beginner, you'll never finish.
How many golf balls would it take for a beginner to get through 18 at the U Club?
Bring a couple dozen.
It's that hard.
It's so hard. Oh
so as y'all know,
they did that on purpose, though.
Of course, they want to host national championships and they want to have world-class golfers that come through the program and they want to test them. And I get it, but it is too hard for me.
So I am not a very good golfer. It's something that at one point in my life I was respectable than the more children I have, but I was thinking about joining U Club, and you're telling me that's not the place to join.
There's a great membership out there. I've had a ton of really good rounds out there. It's fun. It's just the golf course is too hard. I can't
So basically,
finish it.
I'm going to be paying for you to come hang out. Or you're going to play golf, and I'm just going to be drinking.
And I'm going to charge a bunch of beers to your member number and not reimburse you for them.
That's fine. 318-301 great. We stick together.
James Laurinaitis with us in hour number 3. We'll also hear some stuff that Coach O had to say from the from OTB this morning. All that coming up in hour number 3. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Hunt, have a nice day.
Go Cubs.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Reviews are a smart judge of character. If you see this, it's time to move on. But this, now that's a keeper. Richards Honda is proud of our 97% customer satisfaction rating. Every day, we're stepping up our game to make you feel safe. From masks to social distancing to new ways to shop, Richards Honda is committed to fanatical customer care. Because when people call you the smart choice, you'd better live up to it. Visit us today, I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Injury lawyers. Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And thank you for being with us this afternoon. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. You watching us on CST or on YouTube. 104.5 ESPN is the channel. Also go to the Hangin page for any interviews that we may have done. You'll be able to go back and see some of those. Chris Doering was with us in hour number 1. James Laurinaitis will be with us at the bottom of this 2 o'clock hour. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. So we've got a report out now that gives us a little bit of clarity on what's next for the Marlins, Phillies in Major League Baseball. According to The Athletic, Miami's season has been halted until at least next Monday, and the Phillies have shut down until at least Friday, and they're going to revisit the schedule and kind of do a reconfiguration of the schedule to do that. This takes the Nationals off the hook because they had voted, according to a report, not to travel to Miami this weekend to play the Marlins. So those games are off. They're off the hook. The Yankees and Orioles were scheduled to play 4 games with the Phillies the Yankees were scheduled to play 4 with the Phillies this week, and the Orioles were scheduled to play 4 games with the Marlins. So I don't know. Should the Orioles play the Yankees? I mean, they already got to play them 10 times. So do you play them for them? I mean, they just happen to be the 2 teams that seems, that would be the easiest. And again, what if they let the Phillies back on the field on Saturday? Then what do they do? Do they let them back on the field in time to play on Friday? We're making this up as we go along, kind of a little bit.
Yeah. Are you surprised with the Phillies having no positive tests? And they were on the schedule to play today. Are you surprised that they're making the decision?
No, they weren't. Actually, they weren't. They had already canceled tonight.
No, I'm saying normal. Sorry, normally they were on the schedule to play, and So I'm saying with no positive tests, are you surprised they didn't allow them to play that game?
Not,
or at least play this series.
Yeah, the way I understand it, the contact tracing is what rules them out. Is that even though they haven't tested positive, they have come into contact with those that have, and given that you had this mini outbreak on the Marlins, no, I can't say that I'm terribly surprised about that. If they're going to contact trace this is, you don't have to ask any questions. I mean, they were out on the field together, so not overly so, not overly so. This is the cost of doing business now. I mean, this is not going to be the last one. This is not going to be the last one. At any rate, we move on here, and a little bit from Coach O, and he was on off the bench. His standing appointment on Tuesday. We've got a lot of good information out of that. Here's the one I've been asking, which is how do you practice business now? I mean, it's not going to be the last one. This is not going to be the last one. At any rate, it sounds a lot like me.
You're playing sound from your own self?
I'm not playing anything. I was going to play Coach O. All right, stop.
Stop.
So never quote me to me. This is Ed Orgeron about how practice has been different. How do you practice?
So they've given us this time.
Yeah.
This is like, for instance, Friday and Saturday we had 2 days. We never had that in
sounds a lot
in
like
July.
Playing sound from your own self?
Anything. Okay, something's not working here. You're playing me and him at the same time.
It's like the Ghostbusters. Like you don't ever cross the streams. You don't cross the streams.
No, this is not me. I promise.
It's the guy with the Red Sox hat over there.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Can I have number 9, please?
Do you think because you sit in that chair, you got to wear a Red Sox hat? By the way, Musso wears one. Josh wears one.
Is that a thing? I didn't know Musso was wearing one. Anyway, okay. Since the computer went crazy, can I have number 9, or do I need to play number 9? Hey, there's number 9.
July, we usually not practice, so they've given us this time.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Friday and Saturday we had 2 days. We never had that in July, but it's the time that they've given us. Now this week we're going to practice. Obviously yesterday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we're going to practice twice on Friday. Then we're going to let them off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wow. And they're going to report back to camp on Thursday. Now, the NCAA has allowed us to go all the way through. But I'm not going to do that. That'll, as you know, T-Bob, that'll make camp too long.
Yeah.
The season too long. I want these guys fresh.
Two-a-days is something that has also been a rarity. When they practice twice in a day, it hasn't been the same guys practicing twice. It's been split up. So now you get this opportunity to do two-a-days. This ought to be right up your alley, man. This is old school, right? This is old school two-a-days.
I love old school two-a-days.
Did you really when you were doing it?
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, there's something about a old school two-a-day where you build that team chemistry, that team bonding. I mean, you're there all day, because even if you're doing a one-a-day, well, you're still there all day. It's a lot of just sit around. It's hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Right? You're hurrying up and you're waiting, and then it's a little bit more film. It's more walkthroughs. Look, if I'm going to be here, I want to be here with my guys, with my brothers on the field. And so I think it's one of those things that, you know, if you can get away with doing a little two-a-day, you do it.
Well, he's definitely going to do it. So he also talked about some of the players that's caught his attention so far. Oh, two. Sorry.
Yeah, first of all, it was good to see Rick Gilbert. It was the first time he was out of practice yesterday. He was hurt all spring, so obviously it was a walkthrough, but he looked good in that number 2 out there. The guy that's impressed me is Keyshawn Butte.
Okay.
I mean, him and Coy Moore, these guys are outstanding young receivers. I think they're really gonna be good players, maybe perhaps great players here at LSU. The offensive line's looking good, defensive line. Jabril Cox, I've got a bunch of guys out there I can name. This is a great class. B.J. Ojulari, Phillip Webb, those guys are really looking good. Jacqueline Roy, he looks like an NFL player already.
Wow.
Jacoby Guillory, 337 pounds. Very impressive group.
When he talked about Keyshawn Butte, he may be as impressive a looking recruit as they've had. I just wonder where the reps come in. That's a pretty crowded receiver room.
No, I think you're exactly right, because as we've probably talked about the running back and receiver rooms more than any other room, I think, here in this very, very long off season. But, you know, who's going to be the third receiver? Well, we all assume it's going to be Racey McMath, because we think he does have the skill set. We've seen him in a small sample size as well. But who's that fourth receiver? Because they're going to use multiple guys. There's no question about it. When Coach Insminger came on the show a couple weeks ago, he said, hey, we're going to move people around. We're not going to line the same guy up in the same spot every time. So they're going to have a bunch of rotation going on there. But what about a Trey Palmer, right? You know, what's that do for him? Because, you know, Butte, you sit there and you kind of think they had the same skill set as a Trey Palmer. It's a good problem to have. You're going to have competition in training camp. And I think one thing that you'll see from this is you're going to be more dynamic in the return game as well. I think you have too many talented receivers, even if they're not playing on offense, not to be catching punts, not to be returning kicks. You know, last year you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire back there because you knew he was going to make the right decision. You knew you had this high-powered offense that just get me the ball. Derek Stingley, you know, there's some ups and downs. I don't think there's any question about that as far as a punt returner, but I think you'll see some of those guys in those roles, because I just really don't know where the playing time and the receptions are going to come when you have Marshall and Chase and McMath out there. Oh yeah, Eric Gilbert.
The empty set is probably about as exciting a formation as they would have. Imagine an empty backfield with Brennan in the gun, Marshall, Chase, Gilbert, McMath, Palmer, or Butte. How do you cover all those people? I mean, if Brennan's making the right decisions, there's going to be people open. That to me is, and you can of course you can mix and match that. I mean, you can take one of the backs out of the backfield and replace one of those guys, but you've got speed, you've got size, you've got everything you need there to just be very explosive.
The thing, just my football mind, the thing that when you mention empty formations and having all those weapons, you're exactly right. But my football mind tells me, okay, last year you were so good in 5-man protections. I mean, it's very hard to be efficient in 5-man protections as much as LSU was, but they were. It's why they won the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line. That, you know, people don't recognize how good they were in that situation. That's the key factor, because if you don't have that part, Hanny, you don't have the rest of it, and it starts at center. And I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of a momentum shift as far as Liam Shanahan being the center, because of his intelligence, because of getting guys in the right protection. It's not always just about your ability. In fact, at the center position, it's like 50-50. Can you get us in the right protection, and do you have the ability after that protection is called? Slide protections. who is the quarterback throwing hot of, what's our side adjust if we're out there at receiver. So I agree with you. When you're out there and you're in empty formation, all those things are great, but it starts with the offensive line, the center position, getting you in the right call, because there's no safety blanket. There's not a tight end. There's not a running back. There's not a fullback back there. Oh, no, I didn't account for this guy. You got to account for everybody. That's what Lloyd Cushenberry and Joe Burrow were so good at a year ago.
Something else they did just a couple of times last year towards the end, but it caught my attention, and it's fun to think about. They lined Jamar Chase up in the backfield a couple of times, two or
Jefferson
three.
too, yeah.
And so I'm thinking about Chase back there again. What if you started with four wides and Chase in the backfield, and then you obviously motioned him out onto the flank, but just once or twice over a course of 4 games, you handed him the football. I think he had 2 carries last year or something like that. Just enough just to keep it in the defense's mind. They see that huddle break, and they see a guy in the backfield, and, oh, wait a minute, he's 7 now, used to be 1. And then all of a sudden he splits out, and then he does essentially what Clyde did last year, which is split out of the backfield and be the widest. Yeah. Only got to do that 2 or 3 times a game to have that just scare the daylights out of defensive coordinators. Like, man, we got to account for that.
Yeah. We're going to find a new nickname for him, because Uno was Jamar Chase's nickname for a long time. So we'll get to the new nickname, but it's a great point that you make, because we did see Jefferson line up in the backfield a ton as well. Would run a what we call a now flat, which you don't have any protection responsibility. Obviously, it's now to the flat. They did that. They also had Clyde, and he would start in the backfield and motion out, like you're saying. You could do that with the receiver. Clyde also would start outside and then come back in. That's a coverage indicator. It tells you, okay, is it man or is zone? And also, if Clyde had a protection, it allowed him to scan the defense and check out that protection. Now, I like Jamar Chase, any situation that you mentioned, but those other receivers, some of those slot receivers, they can also be in that role. Trey Palmer could be a guy that you put in the backfield, because he has return ability. He's been in, the crowded punt return situation, right, where there's not a lot of room and you got to make one guy miss and fit in these tight windows. Well, he also could have the running ability to start out wide, motion into the backfield, and maybe get, some type of a buck sweep or something like that. So they have multiple options to do that, because that room is so deep. You have so many different types of receivers, right? Trey Palmer's not, ever going to look like Terrace Marshall, because they're completely different receivers.
And, of course, no interview with Ed Orgeron would be complete unless you found out a little something about Miles Brennan.
Real good, confident, vocal. Steve's very pleased with him. Obviously, we're not, we have a ball, but we're not throwing the ball. We're not going full speed, so you can't tell accuracy or nothing like that. But as far as learning the plays, taking control of the huddle, and I'm really impressed with these 2 young quarterbacks. Max Johnson has a presence about him. You walk out on the field, you can tell he's a quarterback. And T.J. Finley has thrown the ball very, very well, lost some weight. Very impressed with all 3 quarterbacks right now.
In an ordinary year, we'd be into the, hey, man, what about the backup quarterbacks? Who's getting the reps? A good backup quarterback
and Baton Rouge,
good backup quarterback battle is always good for 3 segments a week, probably. We haven't gotten to that yet, but we will. So Miles Brennan apparently has done everything that they've asked him to do so far, and they're pleased with his progress to this point.
Obviously, when you start getting into live action, every throw for the first 3-4 weeks is going to be scrutinized from Miles Brennan, and he talked about that on the podcast with Cody Warsham a couple of weeks ago. Like, he realized that. He knows what the attention level is going to be. And I'll keep going back to the point. I like a veteran player that's in that position than a young player. Because even if you're a very talented young player, can you imagine, trying to come into this season after what Joe Burrow did? Now, it's going to be very difficult for any player. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But you do have a guy who's been here for a long time. He has competed to be the starter before. He's more mature than a younger player would be. And we've talked about it. His schedule is going to allow him to focus almost solely on football, because he's already graduated from LSU.
I don't think there's anybody that is worried about Brennan not being able to make the throws and make accurate throws. I think everybody's focus is on, will he run this operation? Will he run this offense and make the operation as good as Burrow did? That he will be able to read things, that he'll be able to see things, that he'll be able to get them in the right plays, in the right protections, in every responsibility he's got. Once all of those things are done, I have 100% confidence in his ability to deliver the football.
Yeah.
So that's what we're watching.
I don't think that it takes very much to realize every time that Coach O talks about quarterbacks the way he talks about Max Johnson either. When he talks about Max Johnson, you can tell that there's something there that he likes. And I know we only had a couple of days of spring practice, and so I've only seen him in live bullets a couple of times. But as you would expect, he's polished. He's as polished as a freshman is going to be because of who his father is, because of the school he went to. It's a very proud program, so he's been coached up his whole life. And so no surprise there that he's going to talk about Max Johnson. That doesn't mean TJ Finley's not going to compete for the starting job when Miles Brennan leaves, but you can just tell that he appreciates where he's at right now.
You understand that these two guys may actually have to play at some point. At least one of these two guys may actually have to play at some point. I mean, they've been very, very fortunate where injuries have been concerned at that position, but you've got a whole nother layer of availability now that is called into question once they start playing these games. The idea that one of those two kids may have to play significant snaps this year is not that far-fetched. They're going to have to plan for that. Okay. Last year, if the backup quarterback had to play, well, he had played before.
Yep.
Brennan had been there for into his third year. This year, if the backup guy's got to play, he's been here for 7 months.
That's the room, and Doering kind of talked about it when he was on with us earlier in hour number one. That's the one room during this whole deal where if there's a positive test, that's the smallest room in any football facility is the quarterback room. The numbers are always going to be the smallest there. That's the situation that I don't know what happens, Hanny. If a quarterback tests positive and that room's so small already, what do you do with the other quarterbacks?
It's a big building, and they've made some renovations.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about in college football.
No, but I had a question.
Yeah.
That's a big building over there. They just renovated with all these.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't they get Brennan living quarters over there, and just he never leaves the building until they play whoever it is they play in the first week?
Brennan, hell, I think anybody would be lucky to move over there. Have you seen that place?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I'm talking about private quarters.
Like
his own little apartment in the back.
Yeah, there's plenty of room. Hey,
call it the Joe Burrow wing. I don't care.
Hey,
just put him over there.
Your office is not going to be available for about 6 months. We're going to need that.
Yeah, and give me your car keys because you can't go anywhere. And put one of those, I guess those locks on the door, one of those magnetic locks on the door, and don't give him a key. You stay here. You can't go anywhere till January. Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Our family of restaurants are fired up, and we can't wait to see you safely. Little Village Downtown. Call or go online for offerings and hours. Palermo Ristorante. We're serving great food right now. Little Village on Airline. Reward yourself. Stabs in Central? Nice. Stabs Prime on Jefferson. Steak or seafood? Introducing Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. We're socially responsible from a distance.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information.
Coming up on Wednesdays, Off the Bench, the penultimate show before the Pelican season begins anew, plus the latest from LSU football school and the Saints report to camp, and a brand new Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. James Laurinaitis with us at the bottom of the hour. One more from Coach O, and then we'll move on. We have a lot of questions about the offensive line and all of the players that they have to replace. And Chasen Hines has been an interesting component in that.
Yeah, I'd like to see him more at right guard. I think that's his natural position. But obviously, coaches, just in case that it doesn't work out, one of those guys can't do it at center. We know Chasen can do it. But I think that's more of his natural position. And I do believe that Liam and Joe and Charles can handle that position, and they can handle the physicality.
One of the things for Chasen Hines is he's never played right guard. He never had the opportunity to play right guard really in a game. Damian Lewis took, I think, almost every snap for the last 2 years, so there hasn't been really room. Now, he's played some left guard. He's played some center, but I'm with Orgeron on this. The player I've most often compared him to early in his career was Trey Turner, who was a right guard. And if he is 350 pounds, which Turner didn't play much below that, he played here at about 335 to 340.
Yeah.
And once he got to Carolina, he was playing at 310. But when he was here, he was at 335, 340. That's who he looks like to me. That's the ceiling for him. I mean, Trey Turner was, a fantastic player here. I think he can get to that if everything works out.
So this is an important detail, the fact that Chasen Hines is up to be the right guard, because now that gives you players who have started games at LSU or somewhere else at every position, right? Because that was the question. It was like, okay, well, Chasen Hines is, he started at left guard, but he hadn't started center, but still starter, right? But when you look at it now, it is Dare Rosenthal started an SEC game. He started multiple games at left tackle. We know Ed Ingram's played a lot of football. Liam Shanahan, I know it's the Ivy League, but he has got game experience. That's your center. Chasen Hines started against Georgia in 2018 and other games. That's your right guard. And Austin Deculus has been a longtime starter here at LSU. So for as much production as they lost, it's about the best case scenario you can have when you have multiple guys. When you have 3 guys drafted from your offensive line, another that's going to be in camp with the New Orleans Saints and McGee. That's about the best you can hope for. Would you agree? The fact that you've got guys that have started games in the SEC and another guy that's played a long time in the Ivy League, but still has got experience. You won't be breaking in a guy that's never been on the field or a guy that's never had his name called in the starting lineup, a guy that's going to be a deer in the headlights. I think that is big positive momentum for this LSU offensive line. Now, what's the depth behind them look like? Well, inexperience. It's a bunch of young guys. But as far as starters, they all have some type of playing experience going into this year.
The other thing it tells me is that if a underclassman, a freshman, let's say Anthony Bradford, and Bradford I think has got a chance to start here. I think there's a real competition at that right side, at that right guard, and he'll be given every chance. Who's gonna win that? I don't know. But if the freshman wins the battle, it's because he earned it. He overcame. He wasn't, it was like, wait, that's what we got left. That's not the case here. 3 years ago, they went into camp, I think, with 9 healthy offensive linemen, 9 healthy scholarship offensive linemen, whatever year that was. Now you're going in with 3, well, I would say just about 3 full units of offensive linemen. I don't expect all of those guys to play. There'll be multiple red shirts, I'm sure, but you have at least that many guys. So you don't have to, the number of times that they had to go with a different lineup. What was it in 17 that they started in the first 8 games? They started 8 different offensive line combinations. Yeah. I don't think they won't be forced, and they did pretty well with that, but they won't be forced into that. They will have options, and so they can go with the best available player rather than kind of when you talk about drafting. If you're drafting for need, sometimes you'll reach. If you're plugging in a guy because he's one of the few options that you have, they have options. They have multiple options.
I think a name a lot of LSU fans are wondering about right now inside the Bayou Ford huddle, should we worry about Cardell Thomas? Cardell Thomas is coming off of an injury, so you have to see how that plays out. And, yeah, look, every position at a place like LSU, it's going to be a competition, right? You're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to play well. You're going to have to earn it. And so, just because you come in as a highly recruited guy, that doesn't mean you're just going to be given a job. And so now he's coming off injury, so he'll have the ability. He'll have the ability to go out there and try to earn some playing time just like everybody else. And so there's some competition, which is good because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know how much competition there was going to be in the interior of the LSU offensive line, but we know who the starters will be, the first practice, but there's going to be competition at center, at right guard. I think every other position is locked down right now, so that's okay. That is good. And if Cardell goes out there and he plays well, he'll be in that competition. If he doesn't bounce back from that injury, well, then he's just going to be a reserve player.
I think it's safe to say he's behind at this point.
Yeah.
But he's got, look, they're going out there for a month, maybe more. You'll have every opportunity to shine. So we'll see. James Laurinaitis when we come back here, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Saints team physician Chip Bankston will be with us, and we'll talk recruiting with Steve Wiltfong from 24/7 Sports. Hopefully you'll join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Major League Baseball does make the change in the schedule, with the Phillies and Marlins now off for the rest of the week. Phillies till at least Friday, the Marlins till at least Monday. Yankees and the Orioles, who they were supposed to play, will now play each other tomorrow and Thursday.
All right, glad to welcome back on to the show James Laurinaitis, 3-time All-American for Ohio State, 8-year NFL vet, now Big Ten Network, 97.1 The Fan, Sirius XM. My man, you got more job titles than I do.
I'm just trying to provide, man. That's it. I'm just trying to provide.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I saw the news you're actually adding to the family.
We are. We'll add number 3 end of January. So hopefully 21 will be a better year than 20. But we'll see. I'm not sure we'll be out of the woods yet in January.
There you go. Well, congratulations. I know you know how to play zone defense, so no worries there. Congratulations again. That is awesome. So you mentioned it. I mean, obviously 2020, the news just keeps on coming. The latest news out of Ohio State that, if football is played this fall, going to keep Ohio Stadium, which holds 105,000 to about 20,000 fans. And so I'm just curious right now, because obviously we're down here, we're in SEC country, but I want to know from you, being there in Columbus, how is it kind of being received as far as everything going on right now in the football season?
Yeah, I think people are getting nervous. I think, to be honest, we're trying. Ohio State players kind of push this PSA of wear a mask. I want a season, and it was player driven. Justin Fields and those guys really wanted to have an idea of, hey, you know what? We want to get a message out that please wear a mask in public, because if we don't, things are trending in the wrong direction for that up here in Ohio. So with that, and then the news, and I love how Ohio State drops it like right after we got off the air. We got off at noon. They dropped that release at 12:05 that they were going to do 20,000 fans. And to be honest, I was shocked. My gut says this is like we're going to baby feed the fan base, kind of spoon feed them a little bit and get it down to no fans. I'll be shocked come fall if we have any fans at Ohio Stadium, to be honest. But I think this is a way to kind of get the fan base and the season ticket holders ready to kind of understand, all right, well, 20,000, maybe I'll get some, to the reality of, no, probably be none. Yeah. And the no tailgating, I think, was the biggest announcement, because that's what, all these people who were frustrated were like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm just going down there and tailgate anyway. Okay, well, it looks like that's out of the picture.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my follow-up, because as you know, I know it's big up there, but it's also huge here in Baton Rouge as far as tailgating and getting ready for the game. I know the Skull Sessions there inside St. John's Arena is big for Ohio State. And so I think fans, for the most part, have accepted that they're probably not going to be allowed in the game. But I think the tailgating and the pep rally, that aspect of it is kind of hurting right now as this news comes out.
Yeah, it is. And then you start to wonder about, what is there going to be a ban? Are they going to let the band in at least to give that college flair? It all stinks. It stinks already for the players. If you're Justin Fields and this is your last season before going to the NFL, or name your player, right, of your favorite team. But, for instance, Trey Sermon transfers from Oklahoma, comes to Ohio State, is looking forward to that awesome experience running out in the shoe, one more year of starting, hoping to get, attain the dream of the NFL. Well, the season is in jeopardy, and if you do have a season, there will be, right now, 20,000 fans. I expect none. And you know how awkward that'd be, like playing look, there's one thing to go through scrimmages when there's no fans, but you get so much energy from the fans, like especially on defense on a third down, like you get just an extra boost. You could be dog tired, but you hear the crowd start getting into it. Like, it's amazing how fast your body and that adrenaline can just kind of flow. With no fans, it just becomes an intense practice. And I would hate to be in that situation out there in the fall. But hey, look, some football is better than no football, that's for sure.
James, here the Southeastern Conference's decision is going to influence a lot of things. Obviously, we're seeing high school organizations kind of look to take their cue, and we're also watching the university leaders as to what the campus is going to look like as far as distance learning and learning on campus. Paint a picture for us, if you will, of what's going on around Columbus in regards to the students returning to campus and also high school sports.
Yeah, so they've started walkthroughs last Friday, I believe. Ohio State started doing some kind of walkthrough, kind of a phase 2, I think you would call it, of their kind of back into their off season. They're supposed to start camp next Friday. The Ohio High School Sports Association said that they're going to push forward with fall sports starting Saturday. So it looks like football teams will report. And this all sounds fine, but what happens with outbreaks? What I think that's the biggest thing you're seeing in Major League Baseball real time. Like, this couldn't have been a surprise to them that guys were going to test positive. What's your philosophy going forward after that? What does a high school do if they get a couple of guys testing positive? They surely can't afford to test the whole team. Gosh, it trickles down all the way down to my 5.5-year-old going to kindergarten. They said if one kid gets COVID, then they're going to shut the school down for 2 weeks, at least. And I'm like, is that a technical, like, actual doctor's COVID prescription, or does a kid sneeze and has a runny nose and a fever? We're just going to assume it's COVID. Like, what are the parameters? So because if it's alleged COVID, who knows? Like, if you look at every single temperature come flu season, then everything will be shut down over and over. So there's so much to work through. I think for Ohio State, Gene Smith, we had him on the show last week. He said that he's cautiously optimistic that they will start on time with camp. But he's not willing to say he's 100% certain yet. And that's next week.
James, something we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks is college football paying attention to that Major League Baseball model because they're not in a bubble. They're trying to create somewhat of a bubble on every campus, just like they are with every organization within Major League Baseball. But I do think college football is a little different, something we were talking about right before you came on. You start talking about the quarterback rooms. We know that that's a small group of people inside of every facility. It's always the smallest meeting room. Man, you get one quarterback that gets COVID. Well, here comes all four quarterbacks, right? Well, they have to go into quarantine, and then you got to push a game back because you can't play football without a quarterback.
Yep. It's frustrating when you think about that. Like, you wonder if coaches will try to get creative and do two separate, hey, we'll have the 1s and 3s over here, 2s and 4s. They're going to have to find a way to split these guys up. You can't have all four quarterbacks working out together at the same time for that very reason. You want to shut down the whole thing because all four of you guys get sick. It's hard. I think there's not much leadership right now in the total NCAA. It looks like the Big 12 is going to plan to go forward playing August 31st or whatever. I saw that Iowa State scheduled Ball State, which is 2020 in a nutshell, right? I mean, Iowa can't play Iowa State because of the canceling non-conference game, and Ball State can't play Michigan, but Ball State can play Iowa State.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's no kind of uniform policy across even the Power Five. So what if the Big Ten, and not even the Big Ten, but what if like Ohio State is like, we're playing, and then Rutgers can't play 1 week, or maybe Michigan State can't play 1 week, and Ohio State's 7-0, but yet Oklahoma's 12-0. Like if there's no uniformity, it's gonna be just a wild season. I think it's every conference kind of for themselves doing what they seem best.
James, to that end, when the Big Ten announces its schedule, do you think that they will push the date of the Big Ten championship game back a week or two to allow themselves more scheduling flexibility to make up potentially some of these lost dates?
Yeah, I think they will if they have to. The one thing that Gene told us on the show was that he felt it really gave them flexibility. He felt that at least they knew that there was one standard for testing procedure, protocols, all that within the Big Ten. That's why they went to conference only. But they basically gained the whole month of September. So they were supposed to play Rutgers, I think, in the September 20-something. Well, now if they don't need to play that, or if they're not ready yet even, they could play that game in October. Or if they're ready, it depends on – there's two theories, really. Do you start it September, the first week of September, and you get after it, and then you have kind of space within your schedule to kind of, like you said, miss a week and say, hey, we'll make it up on the back end? Or do you try to hope that within the next, month of September, you gain more information, maybe there's a better treatment out, and we can kind of go for a little more relaxed? I don't know which way the Big Ten will ultimately go. There's been no talk really of a set schedule with this 10-game conference schedule. But this deadline is rapidly approaching. You can only kick this thing down the can so long before you have to make a decision of, hey, we're going, or we're going to have to think about spring, or maybe even cancel.
Former Ohio State Buckeye, longtime NFL linebacker James Laurinaitis is our guest here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny. James, I think we were all surprised when the Big Ten jumped out in front of this thing and decided to go only conference games. Not surprised that the Pac-12 joined them. But what's your thought about the other three conferences? Because here in SEC country, we've talked about the potential of maybe they get together, you play 8 conference games plus 2, maybe the SEC and the ACC, because there's already 8 scheduled games. Maybe they get together and you play 8 conference games plus 1. So there's a lot of options we've discussed here in SEC country. What's your feeling there, being in Big Ten country, where they're only playing conference games, about the other 3 Power 5 conferences?
I think right now it's just not many people up here are more concerned about anything other than the Big Ten and what that schedule and how it affects Ohio State. I think every conference has to do what they think is best for them. And it's interesting to see what will come out of this. I think we're seeing a lot of athletic departments that are stressed out right now with if the possibility of no football and what does to other sports. We've seen it already with Stanford out west, but ultimately it's chaotic to me personally to think, you could have some teams in the Big Ten only playing, what if you can only get through 6 games? And yet, what if LSU is able to get through 12 and it's 12-0 versus 6-0 in a college? You're like, what?
Yeah.
The data points, nothing is the same, and it's a unique season and it's strange. But I don't know if really, to be honest, there's so much as far as like a daily basis with new school policies and let alone, Jacob, this, the PR of the reality is that the football team's on campus and they're, social distancing, but there's no students on campus. Technically, wouldn't that be safer if there's less people on campus? But we also know what the PR of that looks like, right? Then everyone's going to say, well, see, it's strictly about the money. You only care about football. You don't care about the health. So it's going to be interesting to see what these ADs and the men in leadership and women in leadership say. Hey, do we really just not care about the PR and we have to do this to have sports for all our fall, winter sports athletes, give them that and get money back in? Or do we, strictly go health and safety and say, we're going to shut it down even though you can't afford to? It's going to be a tough choice for a lot of ADs, I believe.
James, what would your reaction be if you were still in the league to the number of players opting out of the season as we begin training camp, particularly 6-on-1 team with the New England Patriots?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's funny how much people on social media think that Bill Belichick's up to something, right? Like he has some master plan, like maybe it's part of a deeper tank. I don't know. Each individual is going to have to rule this situation for themselves. Like, how do you judge it? I thought about this today. Like, if I was, in a situation and I was still playing with my wife pregnant, do I go and play? And it's not in the bubble. I don't know. It's easier too when you're a vet versus a rookie. Like some of these guys, and Jacob, we had this conversation on our air today. It was how many guys really would like to opt out, but they know if they opt out, they're going to get Wally Pipp. Like, I won't be available for that job. And even a guy like Dante Hightower, who is a stud, like he's a massive piece for the Patriots. How many times have we seen stud guys that the Patriots get moved on from? What if some guy comes in that's his replacement, plays up to 85% of the potential of Dante, but yet he's cheaper, and they say, hey, you know what, we can service with this guy, we can do fine. Well, then that's the lost job, and that's the reality of the league. So there's a lot of guys that aren't financially secure that have to make that tough choice of, gosh, I really don't want to play, I'm not comfortable, but if I don't, I might not play again.
I know for me, this personally, I was a third-round draft choice, but still, my rookie camp, I was as nervous as you could be. And look, third-round guys are going to make the team, but still, like when the Turk was walking around the room, I'm like, I hope he doesn't come my way, because you're right. You never know, and you're so scared for your job. You're trying to get off on the right foot that I can't imagine there's going to be many drafted players, if really any, that sit there and decline to go to their organization because of that factor. Because you remember, you were a second-round draft choice?
Yep.
Yeah, but you still, I'm sure there was times where you're like, man, I'm still a rookie. I got to do everything the right way to make sure I prove my worth.
Bro, there was times in college that, like, after my sophomore year, when I'd started and played well, like, you read about who they're recruiting, and you're like, oh, okay, you hear the way coaches are talking about, oh, we got this dude coming in.
Yep.
And you're like, all right, I'm not trying to miss a rep, because I don't want the fan base and a scrimmage or anything to hear about this cat making a play. Like, that fear and that insecurity is what drives you to keep going. That's what drives you to play through injuries that you shouldn't at times. Is like, I'm not trying to give that skilled cat another rep on the field. I'm trying to hold on to this position. And that's what they're fighting. And this time, instead of injury, it's just it's a disease, it's a virus.
James, we appreciate your time as always. Next time we talk to you, hopefully we'll be discussing some good possibilities. We'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. Y'all take care.
Thanks,
See you, James.
James Laurinaitis, former Ohio State and NFL linebacker.
All right, as you know, we're brought to you every single day by Hungry Howie's. You can check them out online at hungryhowies.com. Right there in the top right corner, I tell you, every single day you're going to find a deal that fits your lifestyle, no matter what it is. We love the mix and match, $5.99 each. Choose any two, right? That's the one we always tell you about, but it's not the only one, right? If you're just by yourself, you want to have a quick lunch, $5 lunch special, junior one-topping pizza, and a 20-ounce drink. If you're feeding the family, $20.99 deal, 2 large one-topping pizzas plus that Howie bread. If you're trying to eat healthy, they've got you covered. The $5 lunch special, regular garden salad, and a 20-ounce water right there, only $5. No matter what you're looking for lunch, for dinner, whatever the occasion might be, Hungry Howie's has a deal that's going to fit you perfect. HungryHowies.com is the website. Of course, 761-HOWIE's the number, and always the Hungry Howie's app.
Quick Ask Us when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janny King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Janny King, the king of clean.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Join us Tuesday night for Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. Matt Yeoman of VSiN Sports will join the show as we're live from Doe's Eat Place from 6 to 8 p.m. Catch it on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, an abbreviated Ask Us National Milk Chocolate Day. Favorite candy bar?
Oh, that's so tough. Three Musketeers.
Yeah, Snickers bar. Kind of hard.
I'm not going to turn any chocolate.
No.
Like old school, there's Mr. Good Bar. Fantastic.
Yeah. Ask Us, how many games did the Marlins end up playing? 45?
Yep.
That's, I'm telling you, that's just... It's hard to say. Ask us, LeBron or Giannis MVP? I got Giannis.
I'll go Giannis.
Nice look for the Pels last night. I mean, after a rocky start, Giannis played last night. The Bucks had guys in. I mean, I know scrimmage, but still,
matter,
not,
man. They look
not
good.
Bad. Ask us, do you still feel angry about the Florida Gators Hurricane Dodge game?
That rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, that was
something I harped on for like a year.
I wasn't pleased. Wasn't pleased with the way the commissioner's office interacted in that or didn't. Ask us, was J.C. Holt underrated? I don't know if I consider him underrated because I thought he was a terrific player. I know Smokes teams don't make it to Omaha without him. The guy hit like 390 up at the top of that lineup, and man, could he get him in center. So I just thought he was a terrific player. I don't know if I consider him underrated or not. Ask Jake, who are your MLS teams?
LA Galaxy. I used to have season tickets whenever we lived in Poway, California.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Chris Doering, James Laurinaitis, Hunt Palmer, and for Paul O'Neill, and for our man over there, Josh Ward, for Jacob Hester. I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment.